1025 and 1063.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 1025, 1063, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Happy Friday, D-Mace. How we doing?
Hey, we're doing wonderful. Raining, but I don't mind because, again,
don't have to turn your irrigation system
on. I don't have to turn my irrigation system on. So, yes, I look next door and the guy's irrigation system is just running and it's raining. I'm like, didn't they put the rain sensors on? You just wasting money now. Like, just cut it off for the next 2 days and your grass will be watered and, you don't have to worry about watering at least for a week. So, but I'm happy. I put my feet on the ground this morning and wake up to find out. Well, I knew yesterday, but Jamarco Jones.
Jamarco Jones.
What did TD call him?
Rocky
Jones.
Rocky Bal Jamarco Jones. Well, we were originally supposed to be out of practice today. Mm-hmm. The rain brought us back to the studio, so we weren't able to be out of practice today. Mike Vrabel will speak at the podium in just about 30 minutes, so we'll hear from Vrabel, and we'll keep you updated with everything that we are hearing out of practice. But what we have to start on is something that came out of practice yesterday, and that is I can't help but laugh, and I don't mean to be like mean and laugh about it. I just think it's such a funny situation, and it's like also kind of funny, haha, and also kind of funny, like oh crap. But Jamarco Jones has been cut by the Tennessee Titans. This came out yesterday afternoon, right after we got off the air, about an hour or so after we got off the air. But Jamarco Jones has been cut by the Tennessee Titans. And let's go back to last season because this is something that TD brought up on the TD Power Hour yesterday on Stillman and Company. Jamarco Jones got in a fight, an altercation with Taylor Lewan about this time last year. Before they got out on the practice field, something happened in the locker room. They were asked about it. They said it was nothing, de-escalated quickly. Earlier this week on Tuesday, Jamarco Jones and Jeffrey Simmons went at it. That Jamarco Jones threw a punch at Jeffrey Simmons' face mask. Jamarco Jones was kicked out of practice. Jeffrey Simmons was sent to the sand pit of doom and to timeout, so to speak. And then again yesterday, Jamarco Jones was kicked out of practice. So, and I asked TD about this because, again, we weren't at practice yesterday. We were out at Streetcar Taps and Garden. Super cool place, by the way, on Charlotte Avenue, right around Sylvan Park Nations area. We were there, so we weren't able to be at practice. So we were following some of the updates that were put out on Twitter. And I saw on TD's Twitter that Jamarco Jones was kicked out of practice for a blindside block. And what you and I were talking about was, is it a blindside block in the fact that, like, it would have been a penalty in a game? Was it something that was a little ticky-tacky? Or was it like, no, like that was a dirty hit? Asked TD about it. He said, no, it was a dirty hit so bad that it would have been a fine if it happened in a game. Like it was late and it was dirty. And Azeez Al-Shaair kind of backed up his guy a little bit. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was. Who did he hit late?
But not Gibbons. What is it?
Campbell.
Campbell.
It was Campbell.
Chance Campbell?
Chance Campbell. Yes, thank you. It was Chance Campbell that he hit late. It was late, and it was like right on the side of it, like a complete blindside block. Azeez Al-Shaair was like, you're not going to do that to my guy. So Azeez Al-Shaair and Jamarco Jones kind of went at it a little bit. Jamarco Jones gets kicked out of practice for the second time in 1 week, and just a couple hours later, it was announced that Jamarco Jones was kicked out of practice. Your initial thoughts, D-Mace, when you heard that? Not kicked out of practice, was cut from the team. Both. Kicked out of practice and cut from the team just a couple hours later. Your initial thoughts when you heard the news, D-Mace?
Wow. Because of the situation that the Titans find themselves in, with the lack of depth at the right tackle position. Hell, the lack of depth across the offensive line, let alone the right tackle position. But you just lost Nicholas to a suspension for the first 6 games. You go out and sign Chris Hubbard. He's a veteran guy. Has dealt with some injuries or whatnot.
Has one start in the last 2 seasons.
One start in the last 2 seasons, yes. So now you're putting your hopes on potentially, a guy that only started 1 game in the last 2 seasons, potentially bringing your, left guard to play right tackle. There are a lot of things now you have to sort of reevaluate. Now they can always go out and bring another right tackle in that's, that don't have a job at this particular moment. They can always bring him in. They can always make a trade for a right tackle where they don't have to give up as much. But it's just it's odd because of the situation that the Titans are in. They must have thought, in regards to Jamarco Jones, that, listen, his talent doesn't outweigh his problems. Because a lot in the NFL, in sports, period, I don't care what sport it is, sports, period, if your talent outweighs your problems, you're going to stay a lot longer until your talent start to decline or they just have no choice but to cut you. It's one or the other. But if you are playing at a high level and you are doing some little mischievous things or you're doing some things, that you shouldn't be doing, more than likely teams are going to try to hold on to you a little bit longer. And hopefully you'll get through whatever phase you're going through. But Jamarco Jones is not in that position. He's not in a position where his talent outweighs his problems. Dude, you're fighting to remain on a team. You got a prime opportunity. And you don't get many of these in this league. You got a prime opportunity to stake your claim at the right tackle position. Even when Nicholas comes back, if you play well enough, it's going to be hard for them to move you out of that space. And if they do, they're going to try to find you. They're going to try to find a spot for you somewhere on that offensive line. And if not, then you're auditioning for 31 other teams. So I don't understand what was going through his head. Now, I get the whole, play into the whistle, be aggressive, be dirty, be nasty. That's what I want my offensive line to be. I don't want a bunch of pass-blocking offensive linemen that can't get grimy and dirty, in the run game or push people around. But you got to understand, one, this is your player. Like, you can't be doing this in practice. I get it. I understand you going until the whistle. But you also got to protect your teammates as well. And coaches hate that. They always preach, learn how to practice. If you don't learn how to practice as a grown man in this league, you can't be on our team. And that's basically what Jamarco Jones ran into. He doesn't understand how to practice. And his talent doesn't outweigh the problem that he has. So you got to go. Unfortunate for him, maybe this is a learning opportunity for him that, listen, I know I want to be aggressive, but you got to know when that aggression needs to stop, especially when you're playing against your own teammates.
And that's what Mike Vrabel mentioned yesterday, because nobody is more pro-practice and practice how you play like Mike Vrabel is. But he mentioned, hey, there's a line, and you can't cross that line. This was Mike Vrabel after practice yesterday.
Was DeMarco's block on Gibbons fair game?
I don't know what that means. What's fair game? I don't use those
clean?
type of terms. No, I don't. We don't want to practice like that and be a penalty in the game.
That's two times that he's disappeared from practice early. Is he hurting his chances?
Well, I think you have to just know how to practice. We talk all the time about being competitive and going to that line, and certainly not going to do anything that hurts the team. We don't want to see that.
How tough is that, Mike? Because, a lot of what you talk about is preaching, you want your players to be violent. But how tough is that to teach that and walk that fine line when you talk about it?
You probably have to ask the players. I'm not the ones out there doing it.
Awfully jovial, Mike Vrabel yesterday.
Mike understands it. He understands. He's been a player, so he gets it.
He gets it, but you as a player also have to understand that I got to give it my all. I have to be 100%. I have to be violent. I have to play through the whistle, but there's a line that you just simply cannot cross. And Jamarco Jones learned that lesson yesterday. And yeah, to your point, D-Mays, when you can play at a certain level, you can get away with certain things.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about, like with the betting things that have been going on. When there's an Indianapolis Colts special teams player that gets suspended by the league for a full season for betting, he's going to get kicked off the team. Because like when your talent doesn't outweigh your punishment or the what you've done, then you get kicked off the team. There's just no place for that. And Jamarco Jones just simply is not a good enough player to be getting into fights every single week. But I think that there's a good thing and a bad thing from this situation. The good thing, Mike Vrabel practices what he preaches. Mike Vrabel has said how many times just in the last week and a half since training camp started, don't do dumb stuff that hurts the team. Jamarco Jones was doing dumb stuff that hurt the team. So if you're going to do that, there is no place for you on this team. So I do appreciate that Mike Vrabel is, since he preaches these things and he hammers these things home and he expects his players to play and conduct themselves under those guidelines of the culture that Mike Vrabel has built in this locker room, that he's going to hold himself to that same standard. So I think that's one good side of it. The bad side of it is, what the heck is going to happen on the offensive line? Who is playing right tackle? That scares me. And it scares me for one reason, because I don't know what this offensive line is going to look like. Chris Hubbard played a majority of the first-team reps, if not all first-team reps, at right tackle after Jamarco Jones got kicked out of practice yesterday. He also was taking first-team reps when Jamarco Jones got kicked out of practice on Tuesday. So you can probably expect Chris Hubbard to continue to take first-team reps at right tackle, maybe even be the guy in those 6 games that Nicholas Petit-Frere is suspended. But that obviously puts this offensive line in a really difficult position. The second part of that really scares me is the fact that losing Jamarco Jones, who's really been, for the most part, a career backup, losing him puts your offensive line in a significantly worse position. Because that's how bad your offensive line even started, was that Jamarco Jones was almost going to be like the savior for those first 6 games, and now you're even in a worse position without Jamarco Jones. So it's a bad situation. I don't know where the Titans go from there, but that's what I want to get into coming up next. Where does this offensive line go from here? Who's playing right tackle? Are you going to get a little bit more creative with the offensive line? Do you go out and find someone else to sign, to work out, to bring in for training camp, to just have a body on the offensive line? Where does the offensive line go from here? We'll get into that coming up next, and of course your thoughts as well, your reaction when you heard that Jamarco Jones got cut from the team just a couple hours after he got in the second fight of the week. Just always keeps our lives interesting, doesn't it? We'll get your thoughts on it. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a 1-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
You're gonna make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, y'all? It's Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use the promo code Caroline, CAROLINE, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with the promo code Caroline. So will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP? And also, which team's going to win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app, or you can visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. So visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Whatever your destination in life, you can get there easier with a checking account from F&M Bank. At F&M Bank, their checking accounts give you the tools you need to manage your money well, like the smart, free checking account that's actually free. Because banking shouldn't be hard, and sometimes the basics are more than enough. Making lives better by making banking easier. Go see them at one of their 20 locations across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Duck River Raceway Park, rev up for the Deep Fried 75. Presented by Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series this weekend. Don't miss open practice on Friday, August 4th with 4 divisions including limited late models and the heart-pounding action on Saturday with super late models on August 5th. Catch the baddest super late models in the 75-lap showdown at Duck River Raceway Park. The winner claims $20,000 while history is made with a $60,775 super payout, the biggest ever. Get details at duckriverracewaypark.com.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I know you said it was early in camp, but when is the point in camp where you want the pass protection to be better and you want it kind of solidified who those 5 guys are going to be? So as you said, they can come together and gel as opposed to moving guys in.
The earlier the better, but at the end of the day, we just have to be ready to go week 1. You know, obviously, we're here to improve each and every day, and at the end of the day, it's all prepping for the regular season. So when that time comes week 1, we need to be ready to roll.
That was Ryan Tannehill at the podium yesterday on the offensive line. He said, hey, I mean, the sooner the better the offensive line can come together and gel. That would be great. Well, now you're kind of starting over. The news of the day yesterday, the Titans have cut Jamarco Jones, who was taking majority of the first team reps at right tackle, who I assumed to be the favorite to fill in at the right tackle position. When Nicholas Petit-Frere was serving his 6-game suspension, Jamarco Jones got in his second fight of the week yesterday after a pretty nasty, how Dede described it, a nasty blindside block, and it was on Jack Gibbons. Blindside block on Jack Gibbons. Azeez Al-Shaair was like, hold on, whoa, you're not going to do that on my guy. Jamarco Jones gets kicked out of practice for the second day this week, and the Titans then subsequently cut him. But the question is, what are you doing on the offensive line now? Because I think you felt okay about the offensive line going into this offseason. Daniel Brunskill and Andre Dillard, both kind of career backups filling into starting roles. Don't love that, but Peter Skoronski coming in, your first-round pick. Nicholas Petit-Frere looked better as the season went on. This past season, you could hope in year 2 he could take strides. You didn't feel great about the offensive line, but I at least felt better about the offensive line where it was versus where it was at the end of this past season. Nicholas Petit-Frere gets suspended for 6 games. Jamarco Jones can't keep his fist to himself, so he gets cut. Where do you go from here?
Call him Kangaroo Jones because he like to punch. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. But that's his new name, Kangaroo Jones.
Why I oughta.
Okay.
Hey, you want to tussle?
Oh, man, this kid done boxed himself out of an opportunity. It is funny. Really no, it is funny. Other than, possibly.
Jamarco Holyfield.
Oh, man, Jamarco.
There's still time for him to go to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, he's still, players are doing this. No, but players are doing this, taking these celebrity matches I'm putting my money on Kangaroo Jones.
Hey, that right-hand hook, you got to watch out for it.
Exactly.
If he can punch a football helmet, he can punch a guy.
Oh yeah, I'm taking my money on Kangaroo Jones, people. You know, it's unfortunate, you know, but what is it that the Titans do now? I guess the silver lining in all of this, if there is one, is that it happened early in camp. Now you can go out. Now you have at least another opportunity, or you have more time to sort of evaluate, you know, the tackle position, the right tackle position, and you can continue to work guys out, bring them in, see how they fare, and then while allowing the guys that are on the team now to battle for that spot. But I'm sure there are a lot of other free agents. I'm sure Rand is, you know, in that scouting department is scouring the free agent wire or talking to agents about potentially bringing in guys to work out, and then potentially you can make a trade where you don't have to give up a lot of assets. You give up maybe a 7th round pick or a future 6th round pick or something like that. So that's the good part, because they still got an opportunity. But then the bad part is you're trying to, you know, put together an offensive line that, you know, pretty much your season hinges on whether this offensive line, you can put together, one, a good offensive line, but then two, that they hold up and have depth. Well, you got a guy suspended. You got another guy kicked off the team. You got another guy you just brought in, you know, a couple of days ago. So you're trying to make this work. But I do believe they're going to either make a trade or they're going to, you know, wait and see which guys are cut. But I was just looking at available you know, free agents out there. Taylor's still out there, but I'm sure Taylor is out of the mode of playing football right now.
Taylor looks more like a tight end
exactly.
than he does a tackle.
Taylor like he needs to be playing basketball rather
He's
than
got
football.
himself some new teeth.
Exactly. He's ready.
Very well done, might I add.
Hey, listen, he's ready for the camera. He's
Yes.
ready for the camera.
He's ready to be just a full-time podcaster.
Absolutely. So, but then Eric Fisher's still out there, but he didn't play last year. His last team was the Indianapolis Colts. Former first overall pick out of Central Michigan to the Kansas City Chiefs. But he's had some injuries. He has an injury history as well.
He missed the entirety of last season.
Yeah, he missed all of last season. Prior to that, he missed some games here and there. But you know, he didn't miss many games, but he was always injured. He was always hurt. He always had to play through stuff.
Yeah.
And he never was able to reach his potential other than that 1 year that I think he made Pro Bowl, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year with the Kansas City Chiefs. But that's an option. But you don't know how he's recovered from the last injury that he's had. So there are some options out there. May not be a lot at this particular time, but I'm sure there will be more people that they can sort of pick from, or either, you know, if there's nobody out there, again, they can make a trade.
I think they've got a couple options. Number one, what you can do is just run it with what you got and hope for the best. With Andre Dillard at left tackle, with Peter Skoronski at left guard, Aaron Brewer at center, Daniel Brunskill at right guard, and now probably Chris Hubbard would be the favorite in the locker room to be at right tackle. They can go out and sign a free agent tackle like an Eric Fisher. But what concerns me about that is you bring in a guy to be a replacement for a guy who's suspended and then got cut from the team for fighting. What if he can't stay healthy? Then are you going to bring in a replacement for your replacement for your replacement?
Well,
that scares me. And it's only 6 games. And so that's another thing, is you don't want to get too far into the weeds with money or assets potentially for a trade for a guy that you expect that only is going to contribute for those 6 games that Nicholas Petit-Frere is out. But that's absolutely an option, is going out to find just another, you know, just guy off the street that you can fill in for 6 weeks that can be maybe a backup to Chris Hubbard, just to give yourself some options. The third thing is to go find a free agent guard and move Peter Skoronski to tackle. I said this whenever Nicholas Petit-Frere was suspended for those 6 games. I said move Andre Dillard to right tackle, move Peter Skoronski to left tackle, and then find whoever else to fill in at guard. And I know that it's much easier to just find one guy to plug in for those 6 games rather than just jumble up the entire line for those 6 games and then just move everything back, move Peter Skoronski back to guard and Andre Dillard back to the left side and then put Nicholas Petit-Frere on the right side. I know that it'd be a whole lot easier to just find one piece that you can plug in and then pull out when Nicholas Petit-Frere is out with his suspension. But just looking with what you've got and giving Peter Skoronski that opportunity at tackle for just those 6 games, I wouldn't hate exploring that because I think it's easier to find a guard that you can plug in and pull out rather than a tackle, especially at this point in the season. I don't know what they're going to do, and honestly, I don't know what the best path forward is, but that's looking like it's really their only options. Is either you roll with what you got or you find another guy off the street to either plug in at tackle or guard.
Well, they're going to go out. They're going to sign another guy. They have to for depth purposes. They brought in, who was it, Wright or Wells the other day, the center.
Yeah.
And basically, Vrabel said he's just a camp body, really. That's basically what he boiled it down to.
He called him the third string center.
Exactly, absolutely,
yeah.
Which means you're just a camp body.
Jimmy Murray.
But they're going to bring a guy in. But is it a guy that can truly, legitimately compete to be a starter until Nicholas come back? Or is it just what he said about Murray? He's more or less a camp body. We need the depth. Because if you're getting more reps, you open yourself up to more injuries, and that's what Vrabel essentially said the other day. So they're going to have to bring in. Now, whether they bring in 1 or 2, that's yet to be determined. Whether they bring them in this week or they wait, that's yet to be determined. But they gotta. You have to bring someone else in for the depth purposes, and to give that person a shot to bolster your offensive line. Because, again, right now your offensive line is the weakest part of your team. And as many moves as you've made already, I don't know. I can't tell right now whether those moves that were made in the draft picks that were made, whether they were the right picks or the right moves or not, because how long it takes the offensive line to gel. So now Jamarco Jones has put you further behind the 8 ball, with him being undisciplined, and ultimately you having to cut him.
It's like deja vu all over again with the line. Let's get some of your
Kangaroo Jones.
The freaking line. Just keep your hands to yourself. Let's get some of your thoughts on this. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam in Portland is on the line with a thought on Jamarco Jones. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Caroline. So I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing for Jamarco Jones. If you remember, LeGarrette Blount, he got thrown off the Titans for throwing punches, and he turned out to be pretty stellar. So somebody alert this kid. Let him know it's not the end of the world. It's like you can still make a name for yourself as long as you end up getting super lucky and lightning striking for you. But, no, man, look, I would be really bummed out if we hadn't made the D-Hop signing, because I think our line's already questionable. It's questionable before you cut the guy. It's still questionable. But at least you have a player, if things start collapsing, Tannehill could just kind of run off a back foot and throw it up, and a guy has a shot at catching it. We didn't have that last year. So at least, D-Mace, man, the Titans all-time leading receiver and everything. At least we have a receiver who can make a play if you need him to go make a play because our line sucks. That's my point.
Thank you for your call, Adam.
You're right from the standpoint of, having D-Hop there, a guy that can make those catches. But, if the quarterback can't take a 3-step drop, it doesn't matter who's out there. You can have 3 Jerry Rices out there.
Right.
If the quarterback don't have time to take a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop and plant and throw,
it doesn't matter.
He can only throw off his back foot so many times.
Right.
And that is a no-no in this league. Do not throw off your back foot, unless you're Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, somebody like that, then yes, you can get away with it. But for the most part, coaches don't want you throwing out your back foot. That's a no-no. Quarterbacks don't want to do that unless they have to. But you're right, Adam. They have Hop and they have Traylon. But if they can't get the ball to him, that's been the problem. That was the problem last year. Had they been able to hold up, maybe the receiving core would have looked a little bit better. I'm not saying they would have been great, but they would have looked a little bit better. So I get it. I understand it. But if Ryan can't take a 3-step drop, it's all for naught.
It doesn't matter who's down
it
the
doesn't
field.
matter who's down the field.
And you don't add a DeAndre Hopkins and not feel better about the offense. But there's only so much that DeAndre Hopkins can do. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins cannot make up for a front that can't protect Ryan Tannehill.
He's not the DeAndre Hopkins of 5 years ago, even though the young man could still play. But he doesn't – it's hard because he doesn't have that explosiveness off the line of scrimmage.
And there's only so much a receiver can do.
There's only so much. Traylon, I mean, even with Traylon, his explosiveness, there's only so much he can do if the offensive line's not blocking, you know.
Right.
What you going to do, max protect every play, but then you're leaving yourself just a 2-man route after that.
Get Tier Tart to block. He said,
he said he'll do anything.
You need to play corner, I'll play corner.
Hey, I
Mike
heard
needs you
it.
to play right tackle.
We can replay it. Tier Tart said he'll do whatever he needs to do. So, Tier, we need you at right tackle, okay?
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get your thoughts on that. Plus, coming up next, we'll hear from Chigakonkwo, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and, of course, Mike Vrabel on the day of practice today at the podium. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Nashville Sounds take the field at 6:35 against the Durham Bulls. Kick your weekend off relaxing with Sounds baseball. Gates open at 5:30, but stick around for the whole game to enjoy a post-game fireworks show. $10 tickets are available now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chillin' all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hi, I'm Chase McCabe with your PBR Minute. Nashville Stampede Days coming back to Bridgestone Arena August 18th through the 20th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com or PBR.com. The Stampede 0-2 to start the young season, but head coach Justin McBride isn't worried about the standings at this point. Right now, he's focused on getting some of his key riders back from injury. And he says that some big ones could return for Nashville.
Yes, we're hoping that we made a trade here a couple of weeks ago, to get two-time world champion Jess Lockwood on our team. Now, he hasn't ridden in about a year and a half, really. It's been kind of off and on. He's had some really serious injuries, but he's still a really young guy, and we're hoping to have him back in the lineup by Nashville's event, and that will be huge if that can happen.
Tickets for the PBR's Nashville Stampede Days are on sale now, NashvilleStampede.com or Ticketmaster.com.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. We're awaiting Sean Murphy-Bunting, Chigga Okonkwo, and Mike Vrabel at the podium. I have a feeling Mike Vrabel's going to get a couple of questions about the right tackle position.
About old, Kangaroo Jones.
Old Jamarco Holyfield, as we're going to call him.
Left Hook Jones.
Yeah, a little 1-2 Mayweather from Jamarco Jones.
You think he'd sign my gloves?
He probably would.
He's got a lot of time on his hands now.
Exactly.
Well, D-Mace was getting in his best left tackle stance at the break. So maybe, if wide receiver doesn't work out, D-Mace, you've always got a future.
I can always play left tackle.
Position. We will send it to Sean Murphy-Bunting, who is up at the podium now.
Got to focus more on catching the ball, and that's it. I mean, it gives you a chance to work on different things, like seeing what type of equipment you would use out there, whether you're using the rain gloves, no gloves, stuff like that. It's something I've been doing my whole career, so it's just another day in the office for me. I feel like I pick up offenses real well. I don't know. I've had a ton of offensive coordinators in my career, so I go out there and study and try to learn everything I can.
Do you feel like you were able to play fast right away and not have to think as much?
Definitely, just like I said, because I study hard. I study the whole concept. I try to learn everybody's job, everybody's position, and like you said, it allows you to play faster. When you know how to think, that's this game. As I try to tell young guys that, like, if you can go out there and not think and just play full speed, you can be out there.
And then what about getting opportunities as a gunner, on special teams? That's something that I believe you did that in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, that I always tell people that's how I made my career in the NFL, was special teams and playing gunner. So if they have me out there, I'm gonna be out there running because I love it. That's one of my favorite things to do for sure.
Being an offensive guy, a lot of guys don't love special teams and all that goes in on that. What kind of caught your eye about it?
So when I first got in the NFL, my gunners coach at the time, he showed me film of Matthew Slater and said, this guy has been in the league for X amount of years just playing gunner. He doesn't play receiver or anything else. And I'm like, man, if that's how I get to stay in this league, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try to be my best at it, because that's all I want to do is have an opportunity to be on the field every Sunday.
You guys have another week to go into your first preseason game. How much are you starting to look forward to that, competing against another team and, guys that aren't your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're just trying to get each other better, so I don't look too far ahead, but, I mean, it's always nice to go against somebody else. You get tired of seeing the same guys, same defense every week, so it's always nice to go out there and see a different defense and just work different techniques against somebody else.
Chris, you work with multiple quarterbacks in your career. What's maybe unique about Ryan and the way he communicates with you?
Oh, he's awesome. I feel like it's because he has so much experience as playing a receiver. He knows how we run routes, and he can go in there and be very detailed of like how he wants us to do a certain stick, or how the coverage unfolds this way, how he wants us to break out flat or something, as opposed like somebody just telling you, oh, I want you in the spot. He has very detailed and clear instructions of where he wants us to be. So as a receiver, that's all you want to know. Where do you want me to be so I can make a play for you? I don't think so. Like I said, he's one of a kind. I love Ryan. His ability to see like the whole defense, the whole field, and see it from our perspective as well as his is definitely one of a kind. Yes. Good. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, there you go. That was Titans corner Sean Murphy-Bunting. A little bit of praise for Ryan Tannehill there. I believe we'll hear from Chigga Okonkwo coming up next, but anything that really stood out to you from Sean Murphy-Bunting there?
Nah, not really. I guess just his willingness to do whatever it takes, obviously, to make a difference on the team. Talked, a lot about playing gunner and, being shown the film of Slater, who he's right. Slater played in the NFL, I think 20 years almost, just being a special teams player. Mm-hmm. So if you got a niche, then you need to work hard at that niche, and that can keep you in the league, just like long snappers. You find you a good long snapper, you want to keep them. The Titans have them one in Morgan. I was with him in Baltimore, And the young man has carved out his niche in his league as being a long snapper, and that's what Murphy Button, along with his duties as the corner, he's carved out his niche in this league. So, this is I'm glad he was up there, because this is the part of the team that I am a little bit concerned about. This position, the cornerback position, because of the injuries they've had in the past year or two. With Christian Fulton, he can never seem to stay on the field or whatnot.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I'm sorry. That was Chris Moore.
Oh, it's Chris
It
Moore.
was Sean Murphy Bunting published on the website, because I was confused when he kept talking about
the
that
offense.
Tannehill tells us where to go. I'm like, I guess if Tannehill wants to take control of the defense too, then that was Chris
But no,
Moore.
Chris Moore.
Me.
Yeah, you're right.
Makes a lot more sense.
I was going to say, it does say Sean Murphy Bunting on the website.
But then they got Chris Moore up there. No, I mean, I think you're going to see, and I said this when Chris Moore, when they signed him here, I said, this kid is going to be good for this offense. This kid, he's not just a Scarbini, like Jared would call him. He's not just a Scarbini. He's a guy that hasn't gotten the chance, and when he did get an opportunity to play, he stepped up and played. I know it was for the Houston Texans, and I know their offense was, hot garbage, but he made the best of his opportunities. And, that last 8 or 9 games of the season, he was one of their best receivers, because I think Cooks might have been in and out of the lineup at the time. So I think for him, Vrabel has already praised him about how good he looks, how hard he's working. He's going to be the guy that is going to be, I believe, a surprise for this offense, because he reminds me of the kid they went and got from Miami, Matthews. He reminds me of him, a guy that, when he given an opportunity, he's not a number one. He's in between that 2 and that 3. But if you put a 1 on the outside of him, a really good 1, he can be your 2 in a slot and put up some numbers. I think he's going to be a surprise for the Tennessee Titans team this year. He's going to be a guy that is going to end up on the field more times than not, especially in those critical situations.
And when he was asked about special teams, he was like, yeah, I mean, I built my career playing special teams. The first thing I thought of was Vrabel's going to love that. Vrabel loves him some special teams guys. And I believe that was Terry McCormick. If it wasn't, I apologize. I believe it was Terry McCormick that followed up and said, what really stood out to you about playing special teams? My first thought was, well, that was probably the only opportunity that he got was playing special teams.
Yeah, it probably was.
Take the opportunity. And here's my thing with Chris Moore. If he can contribute to this offense and be a number 3, number 4, then great. If Treylon Burks or DeAndre Hopkins or Derrick Henry or all 3 of them are covered up and Chris Moore is your best option in the passing game and he can make plays for you, then great. It's the same thing with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I'm not going into the season expecting a 1,000-yard season or anything close from Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I'm not expecting to go into each individual game every Sunday and expect, hey, you know what? I think that Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is going to be the game breaker today. Same kind of idea with Chris Moore. But whatever plays that you get from him, however they can contribute to this team, I think is a net positive.
Yeah, it is. Again, he's, as I've watched the few practices, I think we've been able to be out there, 3 or 4 times this year up until this point. Other than Treylon Burks, and D-Hop is in his own category. He's on his own. He's in his own category. Right. He's gonna be ready. He's what you see is what you get with D-Hop. He's been the guy that I've enjoyed watching because he looks the smoothest. He looks like he has a lot of confidence. It looks like he knows what he's doing. It seems like they're building a rapport, he and Ryan Tannehill. If you had to say if D-Hop wasn't here, he would be your starter opposite Treylon Burks. That's how good he has looked, how smooth he has looked. That transition from Houston to here, it looks seamless for him. Now, I know it's probably not in the background, but it looks as if he's picking up everything so quickly, and he's out there playing with a lot of confidence.
Sean Murphy Bunting is up at the podium, so we will send it to St. Thomas Sports Park and hear from Sean Murphy Bunting.
What you do on a football field, you have to lock in and just take every play, play by play, and really dial in.
About how you feel like communication's been good so far during camp. How's it been, I guess, from your perspective and being kind of new to the bunch? Has it been easy to get on the same page with some of these guys?
Yeah, it's been fluent. You know, everybody has the same mental goal, and that's really to just be a better version of themselves every day. And we're reaching the same goal as the defense. We want to be number one in every category that we possibly can. So we just do the little things every day, the small details that really add up to the final goal.
How do you like what you guys are doing in the meeting room to make sure that communication is consistent, clear, and concise?
Yeah, we communicate. Coach Harris, Coach Book, Coach Shane, they do a good job of detailing and explaining everything. And then as far as in the DB room, you know, we go through the plays, we go through scenarios, we go through situations, and we just see how everybody sees it from their point of view. And we just try to be on the same page before we really come out here and execute it.
What difficulties might Chris Moore present when you're lining up across from him?
Chris is a really good football player. He's got size, speed. He attacks the ball very well. So every day is a battle with him, and along with every other receiver. You know, we just want to make each other better at the end of the day. If there's some things that he sees with me that I can do better, he's going to tell me. If there's some things that I can see from him that I think he should do better, then I'm going to tell him as well. So, you know, we're all one team, and we're just trying to really get to that one end goal and just make each other better.
Against this receiver core every day, just what would you say is the strength of that?
They're talented. You know, they go hard every play, whether it's blocking, whether it's running a route. They do the little details correct, so it's hard to get a jump on the things that they do. But they're all smart, and they have a new vet in there, a savvy vet, Hall of Fame guy. So just probably being able to pick his brain makes them way more attentive to just what's going on and the things that they can do.
You competed against DeAndre a lot in the past, and how was that mutual respect kind of gone in those times or so?
Yeah, I mean, I went against him a few times. I believe my rookie year I went against him, and then last year I went against him. But the mutual respect is always there. I know he's a very, very good receiver, a very fierce competitor. So it's just hard work, man. It's just competition. He's going to win some, I'm going to win some. But obviously I would want to win more than not. But he just get me better. You know, he's making me a better corner, making me able to really just guard, you know, everything that he has to give. And if I can do that, I'll be just fine.
How'd those matchups go, you remember?
As far as in the past?
His numbers?
I'm not really sure. I'm sure you probably know. You can look up the stats. I don't really know off the top of my head.
How's maybe Mike Vrabel, Titans training camp been compared to maybe with the Bucs where you've been in the past?
I would say just emphasis on different things. For me, I'm a vet now, so it's a little different. Certain special teams things I'm not really involved with, so I go to the side with Coach Harris and get better and do little small details in that regard. But I would say it's the same. It's very intense. It's hard work. You got to be dedicated to want to play this game. You got to have fun with it at the same time. So there's no walking around. There's no moping around. There's always just high energy, high intensity, and balls to the wall play.
How much production can you get out of those special teams periods when you're working on something?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever it's just if it's a special team that I'm involved in, obviously I'm doing everything I can to help the team make them better. If it's something I'm not involved in, we go to the side and we work on things that I can do better, or we go over certain techniques that we just put in, and whether it's footwork, whether it's top of the route stuff, whether it's route recognition, he's just always doing something to make sure that my mind's always stimulating football.
How much will camp change next week when there's an opponent to look forward to, even though it's just a preseason game and a lot of guys may not play a whole lot of snaps?
Just game planning, really. I guess it wouldn't be game planning against each other as much as it would be to just game plan against another team, and to get to fly around and just be on the same page and be on the same little details, like I said earlier, and just really just being able to play football.
I know in the past you got to play a lot of digital. Not seeing you do that as much here. Are you more comfortable playing on the outside?
I would say I'm comfortable really anywhere. But as far as just playing on the outside, I played there in college. You know, I am more familiar with, I guess, the techniques, the types of releases and the types of stems you get. It's easier for me to be able to read a receiver there. And the nickel's a hard job for anyone, really, but it's a little more detailed than being on the outside. But I would say I can do both, but I prefer to be outside.
Would you like to get some opportunities to play some nickel?
If they need me to. If they need me to, I'll be more than willing to go in and do my job.
Roger, any advice about what to do in the slot?
Yeah, I mean, I just try to help him out as far as, you know, he gets on himself a lot when he's getting into man-to-man certain things. And I just try to tell him to be more patient. You know, in a slot, you can't really dictate a receiver's route based off their release as much as you can on the outside. So, You have to be more square. You have to be more patient. You have to have a little bit more. They have a little bit more timing. So just got to be willing to sit in there.
And your times playing corner, I'm sure Mike Evans has talked a lot, but if you could recall, like, what receiver talked the most trash, who would it be?
What receiver talked the most trash? That's a great question. I really don't know. Honestly, I feel like there hasn't really been many times. You know what? I do know. Robbie Anderson. Robbie, yeah. Me and Robbie went at it a couple times. I think every time we played Carolina, we pretty much yapped it up. But it was all respect. Just getting better. But obviously there's going to be a competitive force there, so you want to try to get an edge any way you can. Thank you.
Enjoyed it. Thanks, John.
There you go. That was Titans cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting. Was not expecting Robbie Anderson to be the name to come out of his mouth. Was fully expecting maybe like a Mike Evans or
I don't know, Godwin.
Yeah.
Or Devontae Adams, because they're in this, they're in the same division. And you played against him before. I would think one of those guys, but
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson.
All right. Well.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's why. I don't even know where Robbie Anderson is right now. He got traded to Arizona, but I think Arizona ended up cutting him.
Is he in Carolina?
Yeah, he might be in Carolina.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. It's Robbie Anderson.
We'll hear from Chiga Conco and Mike Vrabel coming up next. Caroline Willie D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
It's going down. They fight.
Jared, you're
How do you know, Joe? How do you know?
And fight.
And because of that,
But how do you know that, though? But how do you know that?
But that's okay. It's Jared and Joe. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m., Jared Stillman and Joe Rexroad debate the big topics in sports. Jared versus Joe. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors and Parman Tractor and Equipment on Stillman and Company. Wednesdays at 5 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Happy Friday, everyone. I know it's a rainy Friday, but I need you. This is D. Mason. I need to tell you about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. What if I told you that you were wasting your time and money betting on other sports books? That's not Zen Sports. Zen Sports offers real cash rewards for those lucky enough to be in Tennessee. And that means no funny money, points, or credit. For a welcome bonus, earn 5% cash back on every bet you place for your first 15 days with the code DMASON. Unlimited 5% cash, unlimited 5% back on your bets with the code DMASON. That's DMASON. And earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with the Zen Sports loyalty program. So you got to do what you got to do. Bet Zen Sports. So listen, you need to make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later, because mine is thanking me already. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet in Tennessee. Zen Sports. Betting just got better.
Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Always listen. Like, we spent a lot of time together with these guys starting in April, going all the way through. We take a quick break, and then we spend a lot of time with them. We're here for, from early in the morning until, 6 o'clock, whenever they leave for dinner. So you're in meetings, you're on the field, you know how hard they work, and so you don't want to see any of them get injured at all. And, part of that process is then just mentally trying to get them back and them not be frustrated because they know that they're missing an important time. But you can also stay up and then get healthy and then take advantage of the opportunity when you get back out there.
How was Chris Hubbard been since he's been here, and maybe what's the competition like at right tackle now, minus one?
Chris has been great. Chris has been professional. He's been attentive. Again, not without mistake like everybody else, but seems like he's put a lot of work into figuring out what we want to try to do each and every day in the early installation. And I think things will start to calm down, going forward here when we move into next week, just because of we've gotten most of everything in, and so hopefully there'll be some more improvement. But I've liked everything that I've seen from him as far as his attitude and his professionalism.
Overall philosophy, when you've got a new group that has a lot of meshing and gelling to do, how important is preseason play against another team?
I think it's important. I think it's important. I think it's important based on where you're at. I think trying to evaluate and see where they are and everybody is going into next week before the preseason game, and then making a decision about that and how much, how little, and to the extent that you want to evaluate people and competitions, and so I do think that it's important.
How does Peter's strength translate when you plop him on this field against Tart and Autry?
I think it's actually, I think it's been kind of what we thought. I think that's his play strength, his core strength, his balance in there. I mean, he's some pretty significant players that he's, wrestling with, and so I think that'll be really good work. And those guys have been going hard. They've been trying to take care of each other, and so those are valuable reps. You can't recreate those. I mean, maybe not even in the game. So I really think that those guys are all working together and trying to push each other.
Is it tough on a lineman in his rookie season because he's doing combine training and all that? He doesn't have like the same off season of lifting work that he has in a normal off season.
I don't know. I don't know what Peter did. I mean, so. Again, we get them when we get them, and we evaluate them, and then try to get a plan for them and get them ready. And we do think lifting is certainly at this point in time an opportunity for recovery. Maybe not strength gains, but just trying not to lose anything.
In the past, you carried a fullback on the roster, at least into camp and for part of the regular season. Was it the change in the offense or a change in
They're hard to find.
In the thought?
They're hard to find. So hopefully you can find some tight ends that can do some of that work, and but nobody's playing. I mean, they're just not coming out of college. And again, if we felt like there was somebody out there that could help us, maybe we would consider it. But starting to find some of these tight ends that can do some of that work for the handful of plays that you have in there.
As you look at that receiver rotation, how do you see some of the younger guys like maybe Kearis Jackson, Reggie Robertson starting to emerge?
Well, Reggie's made some plays down the field. I mean, we failed to cover him a couple times the other day, but when given the opportunity, he showed up. We had some footballs, and again, this is good work today. It's probably not our best day offensively because the rain, and that's obviously an excuse. But I thought the quarterbacks handled it fairly well. We saw a lot of footballs that got through us and got onto our shoulder pads, and those balls are going to be intercepted. But mentioned earlier in camp, I thought Kearis came back moving better than where he was, once we had him in May, and so that was always a good sign. And these preseason games are critical for some of these receivers, young receivers, all the way down. So we'll keep working with them.
Mike, but how do you think overall your team handled practicing today out in the?
I thought they handled it okay. I don't think the execution was great. I thought that there were some good plays. I thought we missed a couple. We made a few. Defensively, just some of the short yardage situations, or but again, I thought they worked well. I thought we tried to stay up. It was good. You can't recreate this with rain throughout a course of a practice. We've played numerous games where it was like that, and so the operation from the quarterback center exchange, the shotgun, we didn't have them flying over everywhere, but it could have been cleaner, and we need to be able to make some plays down the field even in these conditions.
Mike, the decision on Jamarco is as simple as him doing some things outside of what you're looking for in practice?
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at this, that we all have a responsibility to the team. I think my job is to protect the team. I think the player's job is to find a way onto that team. And so we always are going to hold the team in high regard and make sure that everything we do and how we carry ourselves is in the best interest of the team.
Is it hard with Jamarco since you've known him since he was in high school?
Protecting the team isn't hard, no.
Mike, how would you evaluate Andre Dillard's progress to this point, and how have you seen him take coaching?
Yeah, he's a very coachable player. I mean, I go in there in the morning just to check in with Haas, and he's in there before the meetings, just getting early jump on the installation. Those are things that he likes to do, to be able to, make sure that he's sound on whatever installation they put in the night before. And I think he has improved. I think every day that he's out there, he's gotten better. So we'll just keep working and keep going. But he's out there every single day and trying to get in condition and up to the standards in which we've set about effort and about finish and then again all the athletically he's got all the skills, and then now just making sure that he continues to progress each and every day.
Hall of Fame weekend is this weekend. As a guy who's played in the NFL and now coached in the NFL, how much does the Hall of Fame matter to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's the best of the best. I know it's the best of the best. But I've never thought, too much about it. I mean, I used to go to those breakfasts when I was a kid. My dad and I would be lucky to get a couple tickets or, go down there and be around those great players when I was a kid growing up. I mean, I grew up 20 minutes from the Hall of Fame. So when you have an opportunity to play in this league and coach in this league, you realize that you go back, and I played with a lot of those guys that are in it and played on the field with some of those coaches that are in it, so, and the contributors. And so I don't take that for granted at all.
Mike, what have you made of Alize and Max camp so far?
I think it's been good. I think that's been sometimes up, and I think as a new installation, you see when he has a comfort level, I see a player that can play fast and has good skill set and good size, and then just making sure now that we're able to stay on top of things and again play that fullback role, play on the line of scrimmage, play off the ball, moving those guys around. So the more that he can stay on top of some of that stuff and play fast, that's going to help him.
Camp, you discussed a couple guys that were contenders out at right tackle, but then Brunskill and maybe some other guys as like second options that weren't in that first group. At what point in camp is it too late to reshuffle the deck if you feel like it's necessary, and are you already at that point?
What point?
Where you wouldn't want to reshuffle the deck if you felt like a move was necessary.
I think that could go on. We would still have time. I don't think we're past that. I don't think we're at that point right now. But we'll keep evaluating, and sure we'll bring some guys in here to work out and keep moving guys around and see what gels and what works.
Hall of Fame, Bud Adams founded the franchise. Every year he's a finalist for the Hall of Fame, but doesn't get put into the Hall of Fame. Now that he's been here for a while, how much do you look at his impact and think about what it meant to the game in the NFL?
Well, I mean, I think him and Lamar Hunt, visionaries of, our league and what became the Super Bowl, one of the greatest sporting event, single sporting event, in the world, is based on how many people watch it and cover it. But I also look at the way that, our organization is run and what Amy, learned from him, and Kenneth and Barkley. And so that I appreciate that. I appreciate how they operate and run the team. But I don't know what goes into the selection process. I don't know the criteria, and I don't know what puts some players and coaches and contributors over the edge and what doesn't. So I know that it's an unbelievable honor, the highest honor that you can get in our game, and hopefully very soon that Mr. Adams can be celebrated. Playing linebacker, communicating, getting lined up, tackling, playing fast, all the things that he's doing in practice, and we've got guys competing, and that's what we're trying to do. He seems engaged. I mean, Monty's been a very good special teams player for us here, and finished the season last year playing with some speed. And again, we just want to make sure that there's competition at each spot. Monty's doing that, and these preseason games will be critical for him, and being able to understand everything that we're asking him to do. But no, I mean, Monty's attitude has been great. He's been working hard, and I cannot wait to watch OTIS in that preseason game and playing fast. And when he knows, when he triggers, he triggered yesterday in the bubble and came through. There's a level of play speed that when he is sure of where he's going is pretty cool. So, excited for him to be able to go out there and play fast and see where he can find a role on special teams, and watch him cover some kicks and watch him play on a punt return and all those good things.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you.
All right, there you go. That was Mike Vrabel at the podium.
Those are some long initials.
Yeah, OTIS. They always, break it down and instead of saying the guy's name, they say
Otis Reese, linebacker.
Yeah, it could be.
I think that's kind of what he was getting to. Just flying to the ball, getting, something. It's more defensive mindset. Would you say so, D-Mays?
Yeah, but why'd you just can say Otis?
OTIS.
Maybe he's in one of those little joyful moods trying to play with the media.
Or did he say Otis and it just sounds like ODIS?
I don't know. He spelled it.
Yeah, he spelled it.
It sounds very Mike Vrabel-esque to get that excited about a linebacker.
A player with that many names that you just had to throw OTIS? Otis.
PT.
Yeah, PT. Yeah, you're right. So I guess I don't know.
All right. Well, great for Otis.
Yeah. Good job, Otis.
Good job, Otis. We'll react to what Mike Vrabel had to say there coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mays. Hey, tune into 102.5 and 106.3, the game for driver interviews leading up to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, presented by Lincoln Tech's NADC and the Nashville Sheriff. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix will be 3 days of racing, 3 days of music, and one huge weekend event. So go to musiccitygp.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event this today through Sunday.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
I think he's going to coach up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is back in Nashville August 4th through 6th and is a must-see experience that has something for everyone to enjoy. 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan has all your coverage leading to the race, including driver interviews with Chase McCabe, ticket giveaways, and much more.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a beach day. With 35 miles of sugar white sands and emerald green Gulf waters, it's no wonder why. Let's unwind under the sun on Clearwater Beach, ranked #1 beach in the South by USA Today readers. And then liven up the night at the Sound, a new outdoor waterfront concert venue featuring performances this summer by Peter Frampton, the Goo Goo Dolls, and more. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we're streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. We'll have Ask D-Mace coming up in 15 minutes, so get those questions in for D-Mace. And hey, also get out of the summer heat and join us for craft brews, food, games, and entertainment, all at the 2023 Nashville Predators Craft Beer Festival. The fun begins on Friday, August 11th from 6:30 to 10 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. Proceeds benefit the Preds Foundation, which supports Middle Tennessee nonprofit groups and programs in the community. I know that's going to be a blast of an event. We just heard from Mike Vrabel at the podium, and he was asked, I think, the number one question, the number one topic of at least yesterday, kind of coming in today. Jamarco Jones. It was announced just hours after Jamarco Jones was kicked out of practice for fighting for the second time this week that the Titans parted ways with Jamarco Jones, who was taking a majority of the first-team reps at right tackle. I believe it was Joe Rexrode that asked the question, how did you come to that decision? Was it a hard decision? This was Mike Vrabel and the decision to part ways with Jamarco Jones.
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at this, that we all have a responsibility to the team. I think my job is to protect the team. I think the player's job is to find a way onto that team. And so we always are going to hold the team in high regard and make sure that everything we do and how we carry ourselves is in the best interest of the team.
Again, that was Mike Vrabel on Jamarco Jones. And look, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine it was a difficult decision for Mike Vrabel to make. I mean, Jamarco Jones went to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Vrabel's known him since he was in high school. He recruited him when Mike Vrabel was at Ohio State. I mean, they go back a long time. But again, it's the number one theme that Mike Vrabel has for this team, or one of the biggest themes that he has for this team, and it's you have to do what's best for the football team. You have to do whatever you can do to give this team the best opportunity to win. You can't do dumb stuff that hurts the team. That's what Jamarco Jones was doing. Dumb stuff that hurt the team. So the decision to part ways with Jamarco Jones, it makes sense. Can't be getting into fights twice a week. But the biggest question is, where do they go from here on the offensive line?
Mm-hmm.
I would like for them to move Peter Skronsky to tackle. Move him to left tackle. Move Andre Dillard to right tackle. I just want to see what Peter Skronsky can do at left tackle. And if you need to move him back into guard whenever Nicholas Petit-Frere returns from a suspension, then you can do that. I just want to see what he can do. He's your first-round pick. Hopefully he's your left tackle of the future. Throw him out there. I want to see what he's got. But Mike Vrabel was asked about Peter Skronsky, how he's been coming along. This was Vrabel on Peter Skronsky.
I think it's actually, I think it's been kind of what we thought. I think that's his play strength, his core strength, his balance in there. I mean, he's some pretty significant players that he's, wrestling with. And so I think that'll be really good work. And those guys have been going hard. They've been trying to take care of each other, and so those are valuable reps. That you can't recreate those. Maybe not even in the game. So I really think that those guys are all working together and trying to push each other.
And that was Mike Vrabel on Peter Skronsky. There's a few options the Titans have on the offensive line, shaking it up, moving Skronsky around as one of them. They can leave him at guard, fill Chris Hubbard into that right tackle spot. They can go pick up a free agent. What'd you think about what Mike Vrabel had to say about Skronsky?
I think he's doing exactly what they expected him to do. I don't think they're in the business of – I think they want to – there's two things sort of, I believe, happening here in why they don't want to move Peter Skronsky from guard to tackle. One is we want to try to set the best five, our best five. And we don't want to continue to move people around. We just don't. We want to, it's unfortunate with, one with Nicholas that he gets suspended, but then it's doubly unfortunate that Jamarco Jones can't keep his hands to himself.
Right.
Hence, you got to dismiss him from the team. That just, even talking about it, just blows my mind. Like, you're a grown man. You don't understand that what you're doing is not. Let's put the team aside for a second. It's detrimental to you. Like, you just lost your job.
I don't know what his future is.
Exactly, because you couldn't do the things that were asked of you, on this football team. No fighting. We got to learn how to practice. Let's just throw away. Let's just put aside no fighting. But do the things that we're asking you to do to protect the team. That's all we're saying. Protect yourself and protect your fellow teammate. You can't do that. Like, damn, I can't have you on my team. And then also, they want to look at they want to be able to point to a strength on this offensive line. And I think that the way Mike Vrabel is talking about Peter Skronsky, they would rather leave him at guard, have Dillard at tackle. Those two can work with one another, and then have Aaron Brewer. That could be the strength of your team, that left side. And then, as you know you have a strength to your left side, you're trying to figure out this right side. I can put help over here. I can send guys to my right side to help out the right tackle. As long as my left side is good, as long as I believe that the three on the left side, I'm counting the center too, but the three on the left side, we're good. We're fine. No help. We're good. It's a little question mark on the right side, but we can sort of mask a little bit of the right side with some help from the tight end, the running backs chipping. At least we know our left side is solid. Our right side, we're going to need some help. Not every time, but if we take a 5-step drop or a 7-step drop, we're going to need help to our right side. So we know we've identified that. We know what we need to do. So there's these two things sort of working at the same time. I understand you saying, well, move Peter Skoronski to right tackle.
And it's also, let me acknowledge, it is way easier said than done.
Yeah,
I totally
exactly.
understand that.
And I understand that, but I understand the premise where you're coming from.
Right.
You want to have your best 5 on the field. Well, you put Peter over at right tackle or you put Dillard over at right tackle. What happens because you believe in your mind Nicholas is your right tackle. What happens when Nicholas comes back? Now you got to reshuffle again. I would rather solidify my right side, my left side, the right side with whether it be Brunskill and Hubbard or, Brunskill at guard, Hubbard at tackle, or Roos at guard, Brunskill at tackle, or Roos at guard at Hubbard at tackle. We can work with that until Nicholas come back. And then once Nicholas come back, we can insert him. We already got our right guard in place. So now, instead of when Nicholas come back, I got to move 2 or 3 people. Now I only got to move 1. I just got to move that right tackle out of his place, insert Nicholas, and away we go. Because now my right guard is in position, and he's been in position for the last 6 games of the first 6 games of the NFL season. My center's intact. My right guard is intact. My left guard is intact, and my left tackle is intact. I only got to move 1 player now.
Yeah, that's true.
If I move the left side to the right side, I got to then move them back and then insert.
And it's a whole lot of shuffling.
Exactly. It's just a lot of shuffling.
I get it. I totally get it.
But I understand, hey, if he proves he can play to the right side, throw him out there. Peter Skoronski. Or if he proves he can play left tackle, throw him out there, switch Dillard over there. But then once Nicholas come back, you got to reshuffle the whole thing all over again.
I am just so terrified of Ryan Tannehill getting killed in one of the first 6 games of the season. I'm terrified of it because that's going to be the toughest stretch of the season. And I'm looking at it like just get through those first few games. Just get Nicholas Petit-Frere back into the fold. Get past the Ravens in London. And then you move on to the rest of the season that really, you have a top-heavy season. You get those games behind you. You have a good shot at the rest of the games on your schedule. I'm just so terrified of those 6 games, of Ryan Tannehill being vulnerable with an offensive line that clearly is not going to be as strong as it would be when Nicholas Petit-Frere comes back.
Well, now I
think I'm just jaded and scarred from this past season as well. It's
course.
A carryover of anxiety.
Of course. But I can see, the quarterback can see what's coming to his right.
That is true.
And this would have been, I'm just thinking about this Titan team last year prior to Taylor Lewan getting injured. It was going to end up being the same type of deal. Your left side was going to be your strong side with Ben Jones, Aaron Brewer, and Taylor Lewan. And your right side was going to be, okay, we need to figure this out, help out when we need to. Hopefully, as the season goes, Nicholas gets better and better, and whoever's playing that right guard position is getting better, and they're working in tandem, and they're getting better as the season goes. That's what it's going to end up being last year. You hope that's what the case is this year as well. We solidify the right side of our line with Dillard, Skoronski, and Brewer, and then the left side, because Nicholas is not there, we're trying to find that right tackle. We insert Brunskill at guard, and whoever at right tackle, and make it work until Nicholas comes back. We can do some things to sort of hold it over until Nicholas comes back.
Yeah, and that's what I would want to see. Is move Peter Skoronski over to left tackle, Andre Dillard to the right side. I just want to see him play tackle. But overall, that's what I would like to see happen. Overall, what I want them to do is what gives them the best opportunity to win. So the same thing about the backup quarterback position. Which quarterback gives you the best opportunity to win? Which is the better quarterback at the time? But here's what I think is actually going to happen. I think everyone's going to stay in place. Like you mentioned, you keep Dillard at left tackle, Skoronski at left guard, Aaron Brewer at center, Daniel Brunskill at right guard, with Chris Hubbard at right tackle. He was the one that the Titans brought in. He started taking first-team reps when Jamarco Jones was kicked out of practice in 2 days this past week. And we've said Mike Vrabel makes it pretty obvious. He's not always very transparent, but he does make some things very obvious. And that's when he likes a player and when he doesn't like a player. Like, we know Aaron Brewer is a Mike Vrabel guy. Called him tougher than a $2 steak. When Mike Vrabel first said don't do dumb bleep to hurt the team, he was talking about Julio Jones, and you could read him like a book with his feelings on Julio Jones. I think that Chris Hubbard is going to play right tackle, not just because he was taking first-team reps, but because it sounds like Mike Vrabel just loves him. This was Mike Vrabel on Chris Hubbard.
Chris has been great. Chris has been professional. He's been attentive. Again, not without mistake like everybody else, but seems like he's put a lot of work into figuring out what we want to try to do each and every day in the early installation. And I think things will start to calm down, going forward here when we move into next week, just because of we've gotten most of everything in, and so hopefully there'll be some more improvement. But I've liked everything that I've seen from him as far as his attitude and his professionalism.
I think he likes him. It sounds like a Vrabel guy. So I think that's what it's going to be. Chris Hubbard's at right tackle for the first 6 games of the season. Nicholas Petit-Frere comes in. Everything else the same.
Yeah, I do believe that's the way they want it. Again, because it goes back to, would I rather move one guy or would I rather move like 2 or 3
4
guys?
Yeah.
I would rather move one guy
than
having to, move 2 or 3 guys, and it may work for the time being, but then once Nicholas comes back, I got to insert Nicholas and then move those guys back. They're going to figure it out, and I think they're leaning more to let's solidify the left side. We let those guys work together. Let Dillard and Skoronski and Brewer work together. Let's fix this right side, but knowing that Nicholas will be back, after the 6th game.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Ask D. Mace is coming up next. Get those questions in for D. Mace. Calls, texts, anything that you want to ask Derek Mason is all on the table. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
Trust your pets with Cottle Vet Clinic in East Nashville in the heart of Inglewood for compassionate care and your fur baby's optimal health. From vaccinations to health checkups with on-site pharmacy, teeth cleaning, grooming, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures, trust Cottle Vet, now offering boarding. Visit CottleVetClinic.com to learn more. We know you love your pet. And at Cottle Vet Clinic, pets are family.
UFC is headed to the Music City, and come party downtown with starfighter Dustin Jacoby and Superbook Sports Saturday night. The fun starts at 3 p.m. with a pregame party at the Landshark Bar and Grill at Margaritaville off South Broadway. Stay for the fights, and then a special VIP post-match party with Dustin Jacoby, hosted by Superbook. Superbook is where you should make your Nashville UFC bet. So download the Superbook Tennessee app, follow Superbook Sports on social media, and come to the Landshark Bar at Margaritaville on Saturday night. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Midstate Sports summer registration is going on now. Adults can register as an individual or bring their whole team for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For more info, visit midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Midstate.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code ESPN10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code ESPN10. Use code ESPN10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D. Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willie, and
D. Mace.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Ask D. Mace. Get those questions in for D. Mace. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And also, you can tune into the Chase McCabe Show and our show, Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace, as we broadcast live from Titans training camp. We'll get player interviews and deliver the latest updates with Titans practice as the team preps for the 2023 season. Our coverage of Titans training camp is presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, Cottle Vet Clinic, and the new Cumberland Development. Now, I want to get into your questions for D. Mace, but a little bit of breaking news coming out on the college side of things. Oregon and Washington are headed to the Big Ten. It is all but official, just awaiting the official vote from the Big Ten presidents and commissioners. It at least from ESPN, they expect it to be a unanimous vote accepting Oregon and Washington. So the deal's done. Oregon and Washington are headed to the Big Ten. The Pac-12 is absolutely done for. What Arizona State, Oregon State, Stanford,
Fire
Cal,
sale now.
the remaining teams, whatever they do, it is going to be like chickens running around with their heads cut off on the West Coast.
Man.
Wild. Absolutely wild. So we'll get into all of our thoughts on that after Ask D. Mace. But I got to start Ask D. Mace off with, how do you feel about your conference, the Big Ten expanding even more?
It's no longer the Big Ten.
It's like the Big 35.
Just the Big USA. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's just the Big Midwest and West.
We will accept, a powerhouse team from a Power 5 conference if you're willing to come. It's changing the demographic of college sports in the Big Ten. It really is. Now the Big Ten has a footprint in California, Washington, Oregon, that whole West Coast area. Now they have a footprint in it, whereas before they didn't. Now the question is, what happens next with the Pac, whatever it is now? Are more teams? Obviously, we know Colorado's leaving. Now, I think every team, every AD and president that's left, they're looking to get somewhere very quickly. Because,
desperation moves.
Pac-10 is no more. It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And I think it's wild. And this is just a reminder of whenever you see any sort of news with conference realignment, take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because 2 days ago, on Wednesday, it was announced that that Oregon and Washington were in very early talks about joining the Big Ten, that nothing was imminent, that it was very early, very preliminary. Now here we are 2 days later, less than 48 hours later, and the move is almost done.
Yeah,
So it's slow until it's not.
Yeah, well, it was slow until they, solidified everything. We know it's gonna happen, but we're gonna talk about it in a slow way until we get everything pen to paper and everybody's basically agreeing that those two teams will come to the Big Ten. And lo and behold, the next day, here we go.
It's preliminary discussions until all of a sudden
it's not.
It's done. It's over with. Let's get into your questions for D-Mays. Sally from South Carolina is on the line. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up, Sally?
Hi, I was calling to just ask Derek James Mason Sr. Now, let's not forget the senior because he is getting up old age up there. Derek James Mason Sr., what happened when the king ate too many beans?
I didn't hear that part. What?
What happened when the king ate too many beans?
When the king ate too many beans? I don't know. He farted, I guess.
He left his heir on the throne.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
He left his heir on the throne.
His heir on the throne.
Oh, my goodness. No. Was that a good one? Do y'all think that was a good one?
There was one that we had last week that actually I thought it was a good one.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was, though.
Well, it doesn't mean it was a good one then. It wasn't a good one.
It was just so good I can't even remember it.
Well,
that's how good it was.
We need to figure that one out.
What, one of his little?
No, it wasn't one of mine. Someone
we
else
call
called
it. I don't remember what it was, but Sally will have to work on her fastball.
Yeah, she got to work on her fastball. Change up or something
One texter texts in and says, D-Mays, what makes you think that Andre Dillard is going to be a good left tackle?
It's just the hope that he will. We don't know exactly until these, men start to go out there and play against someone other than themselves or practice against someone other than themselves. We don't know how truly good an individual can be. But we hope that, what the Titans saw years ago, because they did scout him. He was one of the best tackles coming out his year out of Washington. We just hope that whatever they saw him then, that he still has it now, and then it starts to materialize as the weeks go on in camp. So I don't have there's nothing I can definitively point to and say, oh, that's why he's going to be a good tackle. Mm-hmm. We just don't know. What we hope that we continue learning, this offense and trusting in your guard and your center. You hope that he reaches his potential.
Hope's not a strategy.
Yeah, it's not a strategy.
But there's a whole lot of hope and prayers tied up in this offensive line,
Exactly.
especially after our friend Kangaroo Jones over there got cut yesterday. Wes in Hermitage is on the line with a question for D-Mace. What's up, Wes?
Good morning. D-Mace, I got to remind you, man, today is Friday. It is Fireball Hot Take Dad Joke Friday.
So what you got? What you got for us?
Man, I got two of them. What do you call a snowman that throws a tantrum?
What?
A meltdown.
Oh.
I knew it had to be something with melting and whatnot. But that was a good one. I like that one.
Why did the baby strawberry cry?
Oh man, I don't know.
His mom and dad were in a jam. All right, here we go. I'm done with that now. Here's my question for you.
That was a good one.
Man, given what we know about everything and everybody, practicing everything, in 3 years, if we have a franchise quarterback, who is it? Will Levis, Malik Willis, or some guy that we don't even have on the team right now? I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks for your call, Wes.
Thank you, Wes. I do hope it's one of the guys that are on the roster right now. Because if it's not, then that means we got to go back to the drawing board. Now, again, what is your definition of a franchise quarterback? because there are some franchise quarterbacks. They may not be top 5 quarterbacks, top 10 quarterbacks, but they're quarterbacks that can win you football games, a la Jared Goff. Jared Goff is considered a franchise quarterback, but are we putting him in the top 10 of our quarterbacks?
Kirk Cousins is a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. But are we putting him in our top 10 of quarterbacks? Probably not.
No.
But they still can go out there. You have confidence in them. They go out there and do the things necessary, not mess a game up. But with quarterbacks like that, you got to have you some talent around. So with that being said, I think one of these quarterbacks, I hope one of these quarterbacks can turn out to be a franchise quarterback because of what Indianapolis has done, because of what the Houston Texans are done within their division, because of what Jacksonville and doing with Trevor Lawrence. One of these quarterbacks need to be your franchise quarterbacks. One of these quarterbacks, whether it's Will Levis or Malik Willis, you need to find your next guy. You don't need to keep on going back into the pool to try to figure out where your quarterback is coming from, or who's going to be our quarterback.
If neither of these quarterbacks on the roster are your franchise quarterback, and I'm not saying franchise quarterback in a quarterback that's going to get you to the Super Bowl every single year.
Exactly.
A franchise quarterback that's, okay, we feel comfortable giving that guy the keys to our car for the next 5, 8, 10, 15 years, then you need to take a serious look into your coaching, into your talent evaluation. Because you can't draft 2 quarterbacks 2 years in a row, both with first-round hype, and neither turns out to be at least a serviceable starter in the league. That's an internal problem, because sometimes you just don't draft a good enough player, or a potential just doesn't come to fruition. That happens all the time. But whenever you keep trying the same thing over and over again and it continues to not work, at some point you're the problem and not the guy that you're drafting.
Especially at that position.
At that position, exactly. And especially with the offensive weapons that this team is trying to put around these quarterbacks, not just now like the Henrys and the D-Hops, but like the Burks and the Chigs of the future. Ideally, those are all going to be units that are together for years to come. So if the franchise quarterback, or the quarterback of the future rather, because I think the franchise quarterback sometimes gets misinterpreted as like only Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are franchise quarterbacks.
No.
And that's not the case. You don't need to be elite to be a franchise quarterback. But if the quarterback of the future is not on this team right now, maybe you're the problem.
Yeah.
And not the quarterbacks. Mark in Ashland City, Texas says, I keep hearing from an analyst that's on Jared's show a lot that Dillard can't play right tackle, only left. I'm not going to act like I'm any sort of genius or about Andre Dillard and his history, but I think whenever the Titans signed him in free agency, my understanding was he was kind of a swing backup tackle for the Eagles. So I've never heard that he can only play left tackle.
I don't know if he can only play left tackle. I know, they brought him in here. They're going to give him a shot to be our, the left tackle. And if it doesn't work out at left tackle, it just depends on what happened on the right side. Through your evaluation, you will determine, this coaching staff can determine whether, that left side is your best side, or whether, it would be beneficial to you and the team if we put you on the right side. That will be found out pretty soon here. But I think they want him to, like I said before, they want to solidify the line. But first, let's solidify this left side first. If we get our left guard and our left tackle in place, we're good on the left side. And we believe that when Nicholas come back, we will be much stronger on the right side. So I think they're going to keep him at left tackle as long as they possibly can, unless he plays himself out of that.
Or unless Skoronski plays himself into that. Because I would rather the Titans give Peter Skoronski the opportunity, because they have more invested in Peter Skoronski. He's their first overall pick. I'd like to think they view him as the left tackle of the
who's
future.
Who's going to put at their left guard?
Figure it out.
I don't know. I was having this conversation with Chase on his show. We mentioned Aaron Brewer at center. And, it got to the point where, do you trust Aaron Brewer at center? And then you also look at, well, who do you have at guard? Well, if you're going to have Pete Skoronski at one of the guards, I'm all good with that. I think it would actually be beneficial to go from in to out for Pete Scaronski's standpoint, just being with the Titans. Because if you look at it this way, you start at center with I'm forgetting his name already. Brewer, thank you. And so Pete can end up learning from, the 1-eye, 2-eye, and then end up going back out to left tackle where it's not a thing, but 7-eye, 6-eye, not really a thing, but you go out that direction. So learning from within to out, I think, is the right thing in my opinion.
But we also got to look at this, and I think Vrabel mentioned this a couple of days ago. He wasn't necessarily I guess he was sort of. He was talking about the middle of the offensive line, and he said, "Listen." And I think the question was, "How is Brewer doing?" And basically, listen, we gotta solidify the middle of our line. Why? Because nowadays, whereas back in the day, if you had rush ends, that was great because quarterbacks, for some reason it was hard for them, that premium position was that right defensive end, left defensive end, whatever. But as time started to go, they understood that we also got to get pushed from up the middle. Hence, you got Aaron Donald, guys like him. You look at Jeffrey Simmons, Tier Tart. I'm just naming two guys. Interior defensive linemen. Well, as a quarterback, I can see the ends. If I can see the ends, that means if I can step up, I'm good. Well, nowadays, these defensive linemen that are getting paid are interior guys. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the quarterback hates when he cannot step up in the pocket to deliver the football. And I say all of that to say this. They want to solidify the middle of their football team, meaning the guard and the center. If they can solidify that, they're good. That's why they're going to keep Peter Scaronski at guard for as long as they possibly can, because of his ability to just be like stout in the middle, strong, physical, hard to get by. If I put him out on the outside, now I'm inviting everybody to come up the middle. At least I leave him at guard, coupled with Aaron Brewer. At least we got we're fortified somewhat up front so the quarterback can step up if he does get the rush from the outside. But if they move Peter Scaronski outside, if they don't fill that void within the inside, it's going to be hell for those quarterbacks.
Unfortunately, it seems like how the line is currently constructed, there's going to be a void somewhere.
Yeah. I would rather the void be to the right side on the outside rather than up the middle.
Where Ryan Tannehill can see it.
Exactly.
More questions for D-Mace coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Are you always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad.
It's Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace.
Stillman Company.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Your home reflects you, your style, your choices. That's why purchasing a home is not just financially significant, it's personal too. At F&M Mortgage, we understand clients need a loan that's just as personal, one that fits you with service from a local lender who lives right here. Yes, we offer competitive rates and low closing costs, but we also know home financing should be more than just numbers. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats, all shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a ½ carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D Mace. Get those questions in for D Mace, 615-737-1025. And hey, Superbook Sports invites you to a special UFC post-match party with Dustin Jacoby after the fights on Saturday night at Landshark Bar at Margaritaville on South Broadway. Follow Superbook Sports on social media for more information. Let's get back into your questions for D. Mays. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One texter texts in, asks D. Mays, what do you think about Michigan State playing USC and UCLA every year? Are you going to go to a game?
Shoot. Am I going to go? Depends on where they're playing. If they're playing in East Lansing, yeah, it's a possibility.
LA?
I will. LA, probably not, unless it's like, a championship or part of the college football playoffs. Then I go. It's going to take some time getting used to seeing SC and UCLA in the Big Ten. And I'm sure for all avid Big Ten watchers or alumni of any Big Ten school, I think it's going to be difficult. It's gonna take some time getting used to a West Coast team now being a part, because it's not like, okay, we went and got Clemson or South Carolina, and I know South Carolina's not going nowhere in the SEC, but I'm just saying teams like that are a little bit closer. It
even
wouldn't
like
have been
Missouri.
Yeah, even Missouri. It's not out of the realm. It's like, okay, Missouri, they sort of fit, and I can see them being in the Big Ten.
Right.
I just can't. It's going to take me a minute to get used to, just like when the Big Ten brought Nebraska and Penn State into the Big Ten. It took a minute, but it was almost like they fit anyway. It's like when they brought them in, it was like, yeah, we got to get used to playing them, but they fit. It seemed like they fit what the Big Ten was about. Hard-nosed, grind-out type of football, physical football. SC doesn't fit that. UCLA doesn't fit that. Not to say that they're not good programs,
right?
But they just don't fit, the Big Ten,
The
sort
vibe.
of the vibe and the persona of the Big Ten. I don't even know if they fit the SEC persona.
Well,
you know,
it's LA.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And you look at the Big Ten, and I know I'm not a Big Ten person, but my outside perspective of the Big Ten is like, corn-fed, blue-collar, Midwestern.
We're going to run the football, play in snow.
Play good defense, play in snow, rough and tumble. And L.A. doesn't really fit that vibe. The corn-fed vibe.
How is it going to look when SC has to come to, let's say Michigan State or Michigan or Ohio State in November, mid-November, snowing and freezing. You're coming from LA for one day. You're going to have to get used to that. They're going to have to get used to that big time.
And that's not easy. But I will say from the fan perspective, every time conference realignment happens, we say, like, what? I'll never get used to it. This is horrible. This is so crazy. This is so weird. 20, 30 years from now, I'm going to be telling my kids, USC and UCLA actually used to play in a conference with teams that were on the West Coast. They didn't used to play Nebraska every year. And my kids are going to say, what?
What are you talking about?
Really? What are you talking about? So we always get used to it. Like, it feels like Texas A&M has been in the SEC forever.
But Texas A&M sort of...
It feels like the SEC.
Feels like the SEC. SC and UCLA doesn't feel like... I don't care how long they're going to be in the Big Ten. They do not feel like a Big Ten school.
That's a good point because Missouri's been in the SEC just as long as Texas A&M has. Missouri still doesn't feel like an SEC school.
Exactly.
But I don't remember a time in the SEC before Arkansas or before South Carolina. So we're all going to get used to it, but to your point, the fit will always just feel a little bit off.
Exactly.
But the rest of college football is going to adjust. There's going to be teams that go to conferences where it just doesn't fit. And then there's going to be a time where that fit or that personality changes.
Exactly.
Where it's not the same kind of personality. It's not the same kind of vibe. Another texter texts in, says, with the style of football that the Titans play, how confident are you in kicker Caleb Shudak? Titans really need someone who's a trustworthy kicker.
Well, do I trust Shudak? I mean, until you prove that you can be, that dude, that you can have ice water in your veins, until you prove that, it's always you keep your fingers crossed.
Right.
I hope Shudak develops into, a kicker that is more than. I don't want a kicker that's just reliable. I want a kicker that's clutch. I want a kicker that I know that he's like, no matter that guy he has it. Justin Tuck. Some of these there's maybe 3 or 4 kickers out there that you'll just throw out on the field and you wouldn't think twice.
I think McPherson is getting in that.
Exactly.
In that
you don't even
territory.
think twice about, if they're going to make the kick or not. I don't care if the kick was 60 yards. You still believe your guy has a chance to make it. There's only a few of those guys. But I want the Titans to finally get a guy like that.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had one truly since Baronis. A guy that can just, no matter what, you knew he was going to make it. Like when he missed it was like, oh my goodness, what happened? Like, did the wind blow? What happened?
Does he have a fever?
Exactly. Something's going on here. They haven't had that kicker since Rob Baronis. And in today's NFL, you got to have those type of kickers if you're playing a brand of football where, the Titans they're going to grind it out. They're going to pass the football, but there's going to be a lot more, 21-24, 17-20, 24-27 games than there are where they're beating teams by, more than 2 scores.
We were talking about this on the show the other day, that there were 2 games on the Titans' schedule this past season that were decided by 3 points or less, in which Randy Bullock missed a kick. And I know that's only 2 games, but you only needed to win one of those games in order to win the division.
Exactly.
That's the difference. You miss a kick against the Giants, you lose that game by 1. He misses a kick against the Chargers, you lose that game by 3. If the Titans win one of those games, you win the division, and the conversation about the season is so much more different than it is now. Kicking matters.
Exactly.
And we talked about Evan McPherson in that 2021 season where the Bengals went to the Super Bowl.
They're not going to the Super Bowl without him.
They are not going to the Super Bowl without him. The divisional round game against the Titans was decided by a field goal. The AFC Championship game was decided by a field goal. That's the difference. It's a game of inches. And no, your kicker's not going to carry you to the Super Bowl, but your kicker can be the difference between a Super Bowl and not, because it was for the Bengals a couple years ago.
Yeah, and we're not even talking about the kicks that he made within the game.
Right.
He made some game-winning kicks, but because of those kicks he made in the game that they didn't score touchdowns, they ended up scoring field goals, kept them in games, gave them an opportunity in the end to then win by a field goal.
Right. So Trey Wolf was out there at practice today. And now, again, just a reminder, we were scheduled to be at practice today. Some rain brought the practice inside, so we are at the station. We weren't able to be at practice. But per TD's notes, Trey Wolf was out there kicking today. He was 6 of 7 on field goal attempts. He hit a couple of 50-yarders, had one miss from 46. Not seeing any breakdowns from Caleb Shudak, but there is a legitimate kicking battle. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, but I want to see these guys when the lights come on.
Right.
I watched yesterday, and I think there was a miss yesterday in the Hall of Fame game, early in the game. I believe it was.
Quality football.
But we did watch the first quarter.
D-Mace, I have an embarrassing admission to make.
I watched the first quarter.
I watched the whole game.
No, you didn't.
I ain't watched the whole game.
The whole game.
No, I wasn't going to sit. I
Were you
wasn't
that
going to
football
subject
hungry?
myself.
I switched to the Savannah Bananas for a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But I watched the entirety of the second quarter and the first quarter, or the second half and the entirety of the first quarter. And I kind of flipped back and forth to the second quarter. But
No, I wasn't going to subject myself to that. No. Even though Cedric Tillman did look pretty good on some catches there.
Oh, I heard all about it. Trust me. 615-737-1025. D-Mace's Big Ten has 2 new members. Some massive breaking news and conference realignment. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 1025, 1063 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Tennessee! We're Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town. We listen to your feedback on our competitors, so we designed Zen Sports just the way you wished. Set favorites, search and sort bets, and earn real cash rewards, saving you time and money with every bet you make. Find the bets you want, not those distracting bets that seem too good to be true but rarely are. Best of all, withdraw your winnings in under 24 hours. So take control of your bets, because with Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. News out of college football, Florida State is very seriously considering leaving the ACC due to conference revenue distribution. In other news, the Tennessee Titans finish up another week of training camp. And yesterday, head coach Mike Vrabel was asked about his trust in Malik Willis from last year to this year.
Not really focused on where he was, focused on where he's at now and making corrections and continuing to improve. And threw one in there, stood in there today. I mean, got the center and the nose guard and the running back standing on his lap, and he flicks it in there to Racy and, a tight window, and had to put some steam on it to Josh, who made a great catch. So there's going to be a lot of things that are positive, and there'll be some things that Tim and Charles will get cleaned up.
Tune in tonight as the Nashville Sounds continue their series versus the Durham Bulls, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. You can listen to the game on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
It was pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Plus, it's a Friday. It's a good day. I'm in a good mood, so let's give something away. 102.5 The Game has your chance to win single-day passes to the Bourbon and Beyond Festival in Louisville, Kentucky, Thursday, September 14th through Sunday, the 17th. Text in the keyword Saturday, SATURDAY, right now to 615-737-1025 for your chance to win a pair of passes to the Saturday show featuring the Black Keys, the Black Crows, the Avett Brothers, and so much more. So good luck with that. Again, that is keyword Saturday to 615-737-1025. We got some shakeup, D-Mace. Just 2 days ago. Just 2 days ago. It was announced or reported that Oregon and Washington were in very early preliminary conversations about potentially talking with the Big Ten about jumping ship from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. And in that article, in the report, it was reiterated so many times, it's not imminent. The discussions are early. These are very preliminary. Nothing is on the horizon. This morning, it was reported from Nicole Auerbach of The Athletic that those conversations had slowed down. That it was, hey, we had these conversations, we had these talks, but really, don't look too far into it.
Don't worry about it.
Now, here we are this afternoon, and Oregon and Washington are in the Big Ten. That there's still waiting on a vote, on an official vote from the Big Ten presidents and chancellors, but from Pete Thamel and several other sources, college football gurus and sources close to the college football conference realignment, that it's expected to be unanimous, that it's pretty much as good as done, that Oregon and Washington are headed to the Big Ten. The Big Ten has now absorbed the four most premier franchises and brands in the Pac-12. Now, Colorado is gone. USC, UCLA are gone. Washington and Oregon are now gone. The Pac-12 essentially is no more. This is, I think Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, massive. USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten, massive. This is now the first move that is essentially dissolving a Power 5 conference. This is huge. Your thoughts?
What I think yesterday we went over this story, and obviously we didn't know at that point that it was going to be, something that they were going to do. They made it seem like, we're just going to sit back and wait because we don't want to be the reason of the dissolvement of the Pac-12. We don't want to be, sort of like the last rock that broke the glass.
It's the fatal blow.
We don't want to be that. That's what they sort of said. Well, when you went and took USC and UCLA and then Colorado bolted, y'all had already started it. So you might as well finish it. Don't sit back and get, hide your hands now and say, no, we don't want to be the total demise of the conference. Well, when y'all decided to, allow SC and UCLA to enter into the Big Ten, that was the start of the dissolvement of the Pac-12. Colorado leaves, even though many looked at that as, they're probably really just going back home because they were originally a Big 12 team anyway, so they're going back home. Well, that started the domino because now these other schools are looking like we need to get out of here very quickly. Hence, Oregon and Washington. Now, both of them are basically gone. What does the Pac-12 do now? there's not. How do you hold a conference together when 4 of your top, say, 5 or 6 teams leave?
I don't know how you can. And that was the question that I asked about the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
How does the Big 12 stay afloat without Texas and Oklahoma?
But you said it right. They were aggressive.
They were aggressive, and they instantly added teams when they added Cincinnati and BYU and UCF and Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They were aggressive with it. They were quick with it. They were aggressive with their media rights deal with ESPN and Fox. That was the lure for Colorado to join the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 just kind of sat back and said, we'll let the deals come to us. The only deal that came to them was Apple TV that would only give each member school pre-Oregon and Washington leaving the Pac-12 like $22 million a year. Compare that to the Big Ten. Member schools are getting $70 million a year. That is a massive gap. Like, how do you expect the Pac-12 to survive?
Yeah.
When you have 2 Power 5 conferences that are existing on completely different incomes year by year. So I don't blame Oregon and Washington for wanting to leave because it's a dumpster fire over at the Pac-12. Now, Oregon and Washington will not immediately receive that $70 million that each currently existing Big Ten school, in addition to USC and UCLA, they got grandfathered into that Fox, CBS, NBC deal. So Oregon and Washington, I believe, will get about $40 million of the cut of the TV deal starting in 2024. But that's still double what they would have made in the Pac-12. So I don't blame Oregon and Washington in the slightest for wanting to jump ship. But now that leaves Arizona State, Cal, Stanford, and Utah in the Pac-12. Arizona's already had conversations with the Big 12. Brett Yormark has already said he wants to prioritize basketball. He probably prioritizes basketball more than any other commissioner in the Power 5, Power 4 now, I guess. So I can see Arizona heading to the Big 12. Will Arizona State want to follow Arizona? I could see those two going together. Well, then that leaves the Big 12 with an uneven number of schools. Does Utah go with them? Well, that leaves the Big 12 with like 30 schools. Does Stanford and Cal go to the Big 10? Because I know the Big 10, you probably know better than I do. They have like an academic standard. Like schools need to be part of, what is that called? It's like a group of schools that have a certain certification, like a certain level of academia. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure Stanford and Cal have it. I wouldn't be surprised to see those go to the Big 10. So this feels to me, this isn't the biggest move in conference realignment. I think USC and UCLA going to the Big 10 and Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC were the biggest moves. This is just the most fatal move. This is just the one move that it seems very clear, more clear to me now than ever, that college football in 2024 is going to be close to unrecognizable. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that massive changes aren't just on the horizon, they're happening.
Yeah, it's basically death by 1,000 cuts. And that these last 2 cuts were basically the kill shot. It was just like, it's over with. And I sent you guys the clip of former Commissioner Larry Scott of the Pac-12. And, looking back on what he said now, it doesn't age well. It really doesn't, because in 2018, he basically said, listen, about 2024, we will own our own rights, and essentially we'll be able to work out whatever deal we want to. We're just going to sit back. Well, fast forward, y'all have done that and see where it's put y'all. -4 teams, -5 teams, really. So I don't know in regards to what you were seeing that made you think you could sit back and wait. You saw the Big Ten getting stronger and stronger. You definitely saw the SEC getting stronger and stronger. I don't even think the Big 12 made that proclamation of, we just going to sit back and wait. I guarantee you by 2024, we'll be fine. We have all our rights. We'll be fine. I think everybody saw where this was going except him, in the Pac-12. Hence, he's not the commissioner of the Pac-12 anymore. But they put themselves in a bad position. They put themselves in a position of not being able to negotiate for their conference, not being able to negotiate big dollars for the conference. They say that. because you had a chance. And maybe teams, because if you look at the Big Ten and SEC, the last champions have come out of either the SEC or the Big Ten. Now, we've had, Clemson and what they've done, winning 2 championships, and we had Florida State. But for the most part, since this whole realignment, the champions have come from basically 2 conferences, and that's the Big Ten, but more in the SEC, Alabama, Georgia, LSU. What made the Pac-12 think that they were going to be able to just stand put? Like, just stand, we'll be fine. We'll get our money. We'll be fine. What made them think that as you're watching the SEC get stronger and stronger, the Big Ten getting stronger and stronger, and you're just sitting back?
Resurrected.
Exactly. Absolutely. But you're just sitting back saying, we'll be fine.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's oversight. I don't know if it was arrogance. I don't know if it was you're just not quick enough to the draw. Whatever it was, the Pac-12 did it to itself.
Yeah.
The Pac-12 and George Kliavkoff and the leadership before him, they didn't have the vision to be more proactive about strengthening the Pac-12. And now we're seeing that come to fruition. Now we're seeing teams jump ship, and now we're seeing that that there is no light at the end of the tunnel for the Pac-12.
Isn't it crazy how Notre Dame is operating from more of a position of power than the whole Pac-12 is?
It's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's
One
totally
school,
true. One school in Notre Dame
is operating with more power than your whole conference.
And I feel bad.
And it's nobody's fault but yours.
It's nobody's fault but yours. But I feel bad for schools like Washington State or Oregon State.
But
no
I
offense,
feel bad.
Lance, who works here, went to Oregon State.
But I feel bad about just the Pac-12 period, like alums of the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They're not going to have a conference.
Just a new one.
It's a new one, but
it's much different than it did before.
It's going to be like the old Big East, and Willie and I talk about this
Southwest
all the time.
Conference, yeah,
about the old Big East and basketball. It's not recognizable anymore. That's what the Pac-12 is going to be in regards to football. But, I mean, all their sports, but really in regards to football. It's not going to be recognizable anymore.
It's not. And what I always like to remind people is change in sports, period, but especially in college football, because college football has undergone the most rapid and drastic changes of any other league in sports.
Yes.
Change doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means that it's different, and you might not like it. Like, I don't like it. I don't like that college football isn't going to have the Pac-12 and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the SEC and the ACC as we know it. I don't like that the dollar is being prioritized really over everything else in college sports, now more so than ever. I don't like that. But I also can acknowledge that just because it's changed and just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing.
Exactly.
But let's continue the conversation coming up next. We've got some texts on that. And also, let's just operate in fairy tale land. Is there any world where the Pac-12 can survive this? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ryan Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Check, check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Men, this is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. If you're suffering with erectile dysfunction or other sexual health issues, you need to know that there is no one-size-fits-all treatment because everyone's made differently. That's why our urologists and medical providers offer a broader array of treatment options and can even combine or adjust treatments for greater effectiveness. ED can result from aging, low testosterone, prostate issues, underlying medical conditions, and more. And understanding why you have ED is the first step in treating the condition. That's why you need to know your numbers and understand what other factors might be contributing, and then work with an expert to treat it. And that's where we shine. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we have protocols that are effective in nearly 90% of cases, which means we'll likely find the right treatment for you and you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices to serve you, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, we are brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. The big news in conference realignment today, Oregon and Washington are as good as gone to the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten presidents and chancellors and commissioner need to officially vote on Oregon and Washington to accept the new teams, but that's reported by Brett McMurphy, Pete Thamel, a lot of reporters that have been following this situation for a while. They say they expect the vote to be unanimous. So consider Oregon and Washington officially members of the Big Ten, and just when you thought they couldn't get any weirder, it does. Because I look at this and I say, this is the move. This is the straw that broke the Pac-12's back. That this is the blow that is going to completely eradicate the Big 12. But I think there's one way to save the conference as currently constructed. D-Mace, it's something that you and I kind of threw around at the break.
Yes.
The only way to save the conference is to merge with the Mountain West. And even that, I don't think would even do it. Because if I'm one of the remaining schools, the 5 remaining schools in the Pac-12, if I'm Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, I think, how is it 7 remaining schools or 5 remaining schools? 7.
So, let me see. Arizona State, Arizona, that's 2. Cal, that's 3.
Stanford,
That's 4.
Utah, Oregon
5,
State.
6. Yeah.
If
That's
I'm one
it,
of the remaining schools in the Pac-12,
Washington State.
one of those two in Washington State.
Yes.
If I'm
17.
Utah, if I'm Stanford, those are premier brands in desirable markets. I'm not merging with the Mountain West. I'm sorry, no offense to Boise State, but I'm not doing that. And the Mountain West currently has a TV deal negotiated with Fox and ESPN, but it only pays out $4 million to each member school, which for the Mountain West, that's an increase from the $1.1 million they were getting from their previous media deal. But if I'm in the Pac-12, I'm just going to sign up for my $20 million Apple TV deal and call it a day. So you can't have a league with, 7 schools.
Yeah.
You can't do that. The Pac-12 would have to do something, would have to add schools. But if I'm the Pac-12, what does San Diego State really do for me?
Well,
that doesn't replace what we're losing in Oregon and USC and UCLA and Washington. I don't know who else you bring into the conference, and I don't know what you really have that's desirable enough to offer.
Well, I mean, it keeps you, I think what it does, it keeps you in line with where these conferences are going. They're mega conferences now, 18 plus teams. You look at the Big Ten, look at the SEC. Those are 18 teams, 16, 18 teams, somewhere around there. So you already have them. Then you have, the Big Ten, what they're doing. So you got to be in line with where this shift is going. If you want to have an opportunity to survive. So would it be beneficial for them to say, let's team up with the ACC? I mean, could it happen? Yeah. But from a geographical standpoint, that it just doesn't mesh, at least to me. It can't happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. But it just doesn't vibe together. Like the old Pac-12 merging with the ACC. It just doesn't feel right in a sense.
Washington State and Boston College and Miami being in the same conference?
Nah. So I think what would be beneficial is if the Mountain West and the Pac-12 merge. We call it the Pac-West, whatever you want to call it. Do you have the top-end teams that the SEC and the Big Ten have? No, you don't. You may not even have the top-end teams that the Big 12 have. But it still keeps you in the game. It still keeps you from the standpoint of we have 18 teams in here. We do have a few teams with recognition. And we still put ourselves in the position where whoever wins the conference gets an automatic bid to the college football playoffs. Right. You just don't want to totally take yourself out of the game. Right. You don't. And if they don't merge, I believe that's what's going to happen. They're going to take themselves completely out of the game.
Or they're going to have to just join someone else who's already in the game.
Yeah. But I just think it just makes sense to me. It keeps like a sense of the Pac-12 together because you got all West Coast teams basically together. If you start to go across country and merge with the ACC, again, it can work. They'll find a way to make it work, but it just doesn't feel right. I think it feels better if you just combine with the Mountain West. You in the Pac-12, Mountain West, Pac-West, like I said. And it won't be a SEC and it won't be a Big Ten, but I think we'll be closer to the Big 12 than if we don't do this. Because if you don't do this, you're far behind a lot of people.
Let's get some of your thoughts on this. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One texter texts in and says, Caroline, you don't think that these are bad changes because your alma mater is going to be safe from realignment. Honestly, that's probably true, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's not going to be any conversation of a super conference in college football that excludes LSU. So that's probably right. But if I'm a fan of Washington State, or if I'm a fan of even a non-Power 5 school, like let's say Tulane, for example, then yeah, these are probably pretty bad changes. And I'm probably really scared about the future of my football program and of my school and where my school kind of lies in this era of conference realignment. So, I mean, me and D-Mace are Our alma maters, we're fine.
Yeah, we're fine. Our
We're
alma
good.
maters are fine. We're good.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But everybody else, I mean, outside of that, I mean, it's going to be you're sort of waiting to see what's going to happen, how it affects, your university. But I think the Big Ten and the Big Ten and SEC are set. They're fine. Whatever. Even if they do add teams, it's not going to affect the teams within the conference already. They're all going to get their money. It's just, what does the Pac-12 do, and can they, convince another conference to merge with them?
One texter texts in says, "Why can't the Pac-10 just pull the whole Mountain West Conference into the Pac-10?"
Yeah, they can do that.
They could do that.
Yeah,
and that would have to be an ongoing discussion with Apple, because while Oregon and Washington might look at the $22 million a year that they would get from that Apple media rights deal, if I'm Oregon and Washington, I'm bolting. But if I'm San Diego State, I would gladly take $22 million.
Oh, of course.
It just depends on, what does bringing in a San Diego State and a Boise State and a Fresno State and a San Jose State, how does Apple view that? Mm-hmm. How much more valuable is the Pac-12 without Oregon and Washington? Because if I'm Apple, I probably don't want to pay as much of a premium to have Pac-12 games on my streaming services if it's without Oregon and Washington and potentially Arizona and Arizona State, and it's Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno State, and San Jose State.
Yeah, this.
Why can't you just handpick Group 5 teams? Like, for example, UTSA. They're a really good Group 5 team. You could also go pick out Nevada. You could go pick out SMU. Let's see, which other ones are on here? New Mexico State. New Mexico. Like, you
totally
could just,
could.
Like,
Yeah.
That's geographically in the same area. You're still getting that Midwest market with the Texas teams. Like, why not handpick some decently good Group 5 teams and then just bring them over to the Pac-12? Like that.
You could, but then the same issue remains. How attractive is that to a potential media suitor? Like, if I'm Apple, losing Oregon and Washington, my offer's going down.
Yeah,
because
but
SMU and UTSA just doesn't do it for me as much as Oregon and
It's
Washington.
It's still better than the Mountain West, though. You got to just look at it that way.
Yeah.
Because UTSA, the last couple of seasons, have won like 10-plus games.
They're top 25 team.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if you have some sort of, eye candy in those type of Group 5 teams that you can just handpick and somehow strengthen your conference, I feel like that's better than looking at it that way than, losing teams and just merging with another conference that's not as powerful as, your Big 12 and your Big 10s and all the above.
There is one person who's going to join us coming up next that I know has a lot of strong feelings about this. Ron Kruk, former college football play-by-play analyst and also MMA broadcaster, will join us coming up next. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
Knocked down in front, rebound, and the score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code Caroline, CAROLINE, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Ford with Cromwell Media. This month we want to highlight 2 individuals on our team celebrating their anniversary. First, Max Hers is celebrating over 5 years with us on 1025 The Game. And our president and owner, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 51st year with Cromwell Media. Thanks to you for the community you've built here. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey, tune in for Nashville Sounds baseball tonight at 6:35 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Durham Bulls, AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Joining us now is our friend over at Superbook Sports and UFC MMA extraordinaire and broadcaster Ron Kruk. Ron, appreciate you for joining us. It's a huge UFC weekend in Nashville, and I want to get your thoughts on that. But first, I know you're just as much as a college football nerd as we are, and as a Colorado alum, I have to ask you your thoughts on Colorado joining the Big 12 and now the latest, Oregon and Washington joining the Big 10.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm so old that I was there when Colorado actually went to the national championship and won it back in 1990. Yeah, go Buffs. But it was it's been a long time, guys, that's for sure. They've been so bad, people don't even remember that they went to those games against Notre Dame back-to-back in 89 and 90. This is a solid move for the program that had no success really in the Pac-12. Their true success was in the 90s when they were with the Big 8 back, in the day in the Big 12 with the rivalries with Oklahoma and of course Nebraska, and it never took off when Nebraska left for the Big 10 and Colorado went to the Pac-12. They tried to make Utah their rival, and it never picked up. So I think this is a huge move for a Colorado program that's been down so long. Bringing in Coach Prime got people excited. They sold out their spring game for the first time in decades. So it's an exciting move. Crazy time in college sports, that's for sure.
Crazy time is right, and all eyes on Colorado football for the first time in a long time. Ron Kruk is with us. He does play-by-play for UFC Fight Pass, also one of our friends over at Superbook Sports. So UFC comes back to Nashville for the first time 4 or 5 years, I believe. What was the draw for UFC to come back to Nashville?
Yeah, this is a great fight down. There's no doubt about it. So it's about time the UFC is back on Broadway. It's an exciting time. You know, you look at there's some history here in Tennessee, and some of the fighters that have come out of here. I mean, leading the list, of course, Clinton Rampage Jackson. You know, the Pride fighter and longtime UFC fighter, but Jake Shields and Mo Laval. Just to name a few more. So there's a nice history of MMA here in Nashville and Tennessee, and I think this is as the UFC picks up and starts to go back on the road. They're picking places that have traditionally sold out and have really a big fight base here. So I'm excited. It's a huge matchup in the bantamweight division in the main event, as number 4 ranked Corey Sandhagen is taking on number 7 Rob Font. This is a big matchup in this weight class, as a win for Corey Sandhagen could get him into the title fight conversation. Rob Font took this matchup late as Umar Nurmagomedov was injured. He pulled out. So this is actually going to be a 140-pound catch weight instead of 135. A lot of implications in that bantamweight division for the winner.
And not only are you heavily involved in the UFC world, you're also involved in the betting world as well. I know our listeners, in Tennessee, they're involved in sports betting. They want to make some money on the fights this weekend. What are your best bets for the UFC fights going down on Broadway this weekend?
I love it. Yeah, Superbook has some great odds. Go to superbook.com, download the app. I've got a 3-fight parlay that I'm looking at, and it's got a few favorites in it. So I'm going to go with Corey Sandhagen. He comes in at a minus 330 over Rob Font. Rob Font's a very tough boxer, but Corey Sandhagen is a very well-rounded fighter. I like him a lot. I'm going to put him in with Tatiana Suarez. Guys, she is an up-and-comer, and she is a major favorite, which is kind of shocking. She's taking on Jessica Andrade in the co-main event, and she's almost a 4-1 favorite, and she has 26 less fights than Andrade. But I like Suarez in this one. She's returning after winning at the Ultimate Fighter. She's 9-0. She is ready for a coming-out party, and I think this is the fight if she can get a win over the former champion in Jessica Andrade. And then I've been going back and forth with this, but since I need to put in a third fight, I'm going to go with Diego Lopez. I like him getting by Gavin Tucker. That is my 3-fight parlay. If you go to superbook.com or download the app, they will boost that 3-fight parlay this weekend. Use the promo code Carter, KRUCKER, and we'll boost that up this weekend. But exciting time here in Music City as the UFC is back.
Last one for you. I know that the fun on Broadway doesn't stop just at Bridgestone for the UFC event. You'll also be hosting a party. Tell our listeners a little bit more about what they can do after the fight on Broadway.
Absolutely. It's actually before, during, and after. They will have a watch party at Margaritaville and Landshark. They'll have that watch party going on as early as 3 p.m. I think prelims start at 5. Get down there early. But then we're very excited to welcome UFC light heavyweight Dustin Jacoby, and he will have his official after party at Landshark after the fights. Come down. We got a signed pair of UFC gloves from Dustin. Dude, this guy is so much fun, guys. You got to come down. He big hunter, just a fun dude to hang out with. He'll take some pictures. Of course, Superbook will have some swag to give away, some great promos. So get down to Margaritaville and Landshark Bar. Dustin Jacoby hopefully gets a win, and then he'll be in a great mood to have a few adult beverages.
Ron Kruk, he's been covering UFC and MMA for the longest time, does play-by-play on UFC Fight Pass. Also can find him on Superbook Betting with the Barbers. Ron, appreciate you for joining us and excited for the party on Broadway on Saturday.
Awesome. I'm expecting to see you both out there. It's going to be a great night of fights. And as I said, it's about time that the UFC is back on Broadway. Thanks for the time, guys.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Ron. It's going to be a blast. Appreciate our friends over at Superbook Sports for offering Ron to us. Also, head out to Landshark Bar in Margaritaville on Broadway on Saturday night. Superbook always throws a blast of a party, and I know that Saturday night will be no different. Coming up next, some more breaking news coming out, but on the league side this time. It has something to do with the Titans in Week 1. We'll get into that coming up next. Plus, we will take it to the bank. Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Come on. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
My student organization was suspended from campus for criticizing the Chinese government. We knew our free speech rights were being violated. That's why we teamed up with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. FIRE launched a full-scale campaign. They talked to the media, sent letters to the school's president, and put billboards up around campus telling our story. That's what FIRE does. They defend everyone's right to free speech. Defend free speech at thefire.org.
Paid for by thefire.org.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Skyline offers world-class orthopedic care. The doctors at their Dickerson Road location specialize in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery for general orthopedics and sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder, as well as hand, wrist, and elbow trauma. They offer same-day appointments, too, so you can get back to enjoying life sooner. Schedule your appointment now at tn.houston.com. Conveniently located at the TriStar Skyline Medical Center in Nashville. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the third pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one. It's absurd.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You can take that to the bank. Here comes the money.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Before we get into Take It to the Bank, because I know we've got some shots that we are going to call before the weekend.
Yes.
A little bit of breaking news. This coming out from Ian Rappaport that Alvin Kamara has been suspended for 3 games for violating the league's personal conduct policy. So around the Pro Bowl last year, he was involved in a really, really scary fight.
Yeah.
It was at a casino or a nightclub.
It was at a hotel.
He beat the crap out of a guy.
Yeah, they caught it all on video too. It wasn't good. So, he's out 3 games. Well, that's good for the Titans.
Out 3 games. Good for the Titans considering the Titans are playing the Saints week 1. So the Saints will be Alvin Kamara-less for week 1. And look, Alvin Kamara now in 2023 is not the Alvin Kamara of 2018, 2019 when he was a top 5, top 3 running back in the league. I mean, Alvin Kamara over the last couple of seasons, just shy of 1,000 rushing yards, hasn't been as much of a fixture of the offense as he previously played maybe in the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era of the New Orleans Saints right around 2018-19. But still, the Saints are undergoing a whole lot of changes offensively. New head coach last year in Dennis Allen.
New quarterback.
New starting quarterback in Derek Carr, bringing in Chris Olave in the draft this past year, so he's entering his second season. The Saints did sign Jamal Williams from the Lions. So I think that the Saints have been preparing for this, that they knew that a suspension was imminent for Alvin Kamara, that if it wasn't going to be 3 games, it was going to be something else. So the Saints have been preparing to not have Alvin Kamara, but still, I think that, not having him, the Saints are worse off than having him, which then in the first week of the season is a positive thing for the Titans.
Well, that's one less person the Titans have to game plan for.
Right.
And he poses a mismatch. He still has the ability to be, a great pass catcher out of the backfield. He may not be as explosive between the tackles as he was some years ago, but you still got to account for him when he's on the field. And not having him bodes well for the Titans, early on in the season. But it's just, man, these guys get themselves in certain situations that you just think like, man, why? Is it worth it? So now he's out of 3 games, which means he won't get paid for the first 3 weeks. And then ultimately it hurts your team, you not being there. So good for the Titans, bad for the Saints.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
yeah,
what are you? It was a scary scene. It was a really scary scene.
You got to know when to sort of, you don't want no one fighting in a situation like that. You just don't. But if indeed that does occur, you got to know to remove yourself from it. And the people that you hang with, they got to know, hey, we got to remove this dude from what's going on.
Right. He's lucky it was 3 games.
Exactly.
I'm shocked
absolutely.
It's only 3. I was kind of expecting 6, to be completely honest with you. But without further ado, it is now time to take it to the bank. Take It to the Bank, brought to you by F&M Bank. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. At F&M Bank, their mission is to make lives better by making banking easier. So visit one of their 20 locations throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky or online at fmbank.com. Our commissioner, Nick Frazier, how'd we do last week?
Not so great on my end.
Not so hot. All right.
I went for Nolan Arenado to get a home run just because of the trade rumors, and went I think 0 for 4 in one of the games, and then like 1 for 3. So not great.
Not a great weekend for Nolan Arenado. I know mine last week was that Dalvin Cook was going to get signed by the Jets. I'm not wrong quite yet.
Pending.
But not quite right yet. I had a second one that I said that anyone for the St. Louis Cardinals was on the table other than Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. Those 2 are still St. Louis Cardinals, so cha-ching. Cashed that one. D-Mace, what was your take?
Mine was there would be a big trade in the NFL this past weekend. Came close. I mean, I guess you can call it close because Jonathan Taylor said, I want to be traded.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I was like, please trade him. Just please so I can win. Take it to the bank. And they didn't trade him. So he opened up the door just a little bit. Man, I felt a little bit of that breeze. And then Irsay closed it.
Jim Irsay.
You needed Jim Irsay to say, we're going to go with the third string
exactly.
this year.
We always say, like, the Mets are going to Met and the Jets are going to Jet. Jim Irsay is going to Jim Irsay.
Yeah.
And Jim Irsay just Jim Irsay'd.
Basically.
What's your ticket to the bank this week?
There's a 2-game series. I'm gonna go back to the MLB because it seems like I've
been cleaning up in MLB.
I've had some success with this. The Tigers play the Tampa Bay Rays. Is it 2 games? I believe it's 2 games this weekend. So it's today and tomorrow.
Not a third game on Sunday?
There may be a 3rd game on Sunday. I'm just looking at the 4th and the 5th now. But either way, I think the Tigers win that series from the Rays. Obviously, the Rays are a better team. But I got my Tigers winning the series. I'm not saying they're sweeping the series. I think there is a 3rd game.
Yes, Sunday.
Yeah, the
Ride
Sunday's
or
game.
die
so
for Detroit.
I'm riding with my Tigers to beat the Rays in the series.
All right, Iris. So they need to win 1 game.
Huh?
Do they need to sweep it?
They need to sweep the series.
Okay, need to sweep the series. Okay,
it's to win 2 out of the 3 games. Yeah.
Oh, so it is a 3-game series.
Yeah,
Okay.
3-game series.
Gotcha,
Today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Yep.
Gotcha. Go Tigers, go.
Let's go. We need it.
Nick, what are you taking to the bank this week?
So my first take it to the bank, I started out with Nashville SC in the League's Cup like 3 weeks ago. I'm going to go back to the well with it. Nashville SC play tonight versus FC Cincinnati on the road. It's going to be a tough matchup for them. I'm just going to take Nashville SC to win outright.
All right.
It's the knockout round, so might as well go that way.
I like the enthusiasm, the confidence in Nashville SC. Our
Hey.
official soccer corner with Nick Frazier.
Hey, there you go. Soccer corner with me. I like
You know
that.
what? I'm really upset, and because Nashville SC, they play the Miami team, but they play them in Miami.
Hey, D-Max, you want to go to Miami?
To watch Messi?
Hey, let's do
it.
We'll go for a whole trip for the whole entire group here. Let's go
I
for the
saw it.
trip.
I'm like, is it?
I saw one advertisement for Miami playing Dallas, and they played in Frisco. And I saw a tweet that was like, who would have thought Lionel Messi in Frisco, Texas? The epicenter of the soccer world.
Oh, it will be.
Frisco, it will be. And wherever he is, honestly, is the epicenter of the soccer world.
He was at Publix the other day. It was on Twitter, and he had
Pub Sub?
Yeah, there you go, Pub Sub right
Yeah.
now. It was cereal boxes for his kids, and I saw like CT Crunch was in there. I'm like, I know he's gonna munch on some CT Crunch. He's gonna experience the U.S. lifestyle of eating lavishly.
I've never heard it called CT Crunch.
Yeah.
Like Captain
Really?
Crunch?
Yeah. No.
Captain Crunch.
CT Crunch and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I just call it Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah.
Maybe CT Crunch has a much cooler vibe to it.
Yeah, that sounds cooler.
Sounds
Cinnamon
cool.
Crunch.
Does Lionel Messi not have people to do his grocery shopping for him?
I like that he does his own
I
grocery
do
shopping.
too, but
Yeah.
I'm kind
I
of
think he just kind of wants to be a normal guy, and I feel like America kind of offers that to him. You know, I mean, in Europe he's a world superstar. I mean, in America he's that, but I feel like America has a little bit more. Just like, hey, we'll cut it back a little bit.
We have more Kim Kardashians of the world to kind
Exactly.
of, dilute the soccer players. Might take it to the bank this week. I think by the next time that we're out at practice, I believe we're out at practice on Tuesday on next week, off on Monday. I think the Titans are going to sign another offensive lineman. I don't know who it's going to be. If I had to guess, it's probably some guy that we've never heard of, or one guy that we were like, oh yeah, I remember when he played at like Utah State in like 2012. What's he been up to since then? It's more than likely going to be a name like that we don't really recognize, but it's a guy to just bring in, to be a body in camp, to maybe add a little bit of competition, a little bit of depth to this offensive line room. Because I think they were already just skimming by with the bare minimum. Once you get rid of, Floyd Jamarco Jones Mayweather.
Kangaroo Jones.
Kangaroo Jones, cutting him after his second fight of the week. His third fight since he's gotten to the Titans in just a single calendar year.
I didn't realize he was on the fight card for the other night.
Yeah, UFC this weekend. Come check out Jamarco Jones, MMA aficionado.
I just
on
hope he signs my
Broadway.
gloves, man. I really hope
Yeah.
that happens.
I think that he would be. He's a big name in the fighting world.
Yeah.
But after they cut him, rightfully so, I have no problems with it, no gripes with it. After they cut him, I think they just need to add one more body. And I don't think that this is going to be a guy that you're going to see actually compete for the right tackle position. But I think that this is going to be a guy that they're just going to add in camp, have a body, a little bit of depth. So I'm going to take that to the bank that by Tuesday, the Titans are going to sign another offensive lineman.
Any names to go along with that?
Not tackle, just an offensive lineman or an offensive tackle.
I will go tackle.
Oh, so we're narrowing it down. We're being specific
tackle. I'll go tackle. It is not going to be Taylor Lewan.
No,
will
it's not
tell
going to
you
be
that.
Taylor.
Maybe it's a Rodney Hudson
It could be.
or a Jesse Davis.
Or it could be an Eric Fisher. You just never know. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Nah, probably not. Well, if Taylor, Taylor's probably
Taylor's
done.
too skinny.
Yeah, he's too skinny.
Taylor's too skinny. But I think they're going to sign someone
He should
else
be
by
playing
Tuesday.
sand volleyball right about now.
Yeah, right. Seriously. That's going to do it for us today. Have a great weekend this weekend. Stillman and Company's up next. We'll be back Monday at 11 a.m.
Be love and love on your people.